Hello and welcome to CNR Business, proudly brought to you by MTN and EcoBank. My name is Nashika Caesar. Now, economic analysts have endorsed the new government's decision to explore additional funding from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, calling it a prudent move. The Finance Minister-designate Dr. Kasil Atuforsen recently indicated that the administration is considering seeking extra IMF support to stabilize the economy. This report I put together delves into the perspectives of economic experts on this development. In 2023, Ghana defaulted on its debt obligations, forcing the country to secure a $3 billion bailout package from the IMF to stabilize its ailing economy. The previous Akufo-Addo administration, which had vowed never to return to the fund, faced widespread criticism for this decision. The backlash was compounded by the aggressive debt restructuring that followed, causing millions to lose their investments. The newly elected Mahama-led government has signaled its intent to seek additional financial support from the IMF to cushion the economy. Economist and professor of finance at the University of Ghana, Professor Godfred Bokpin, shares his insights on the matter.
I would say it's a smart move, even though it is not that popular in Ghana to say you are looking for more loans or assistance from the IMF and the World Bank. But where we find ourselves, I think we don't have many options on the table immediately. Our gross financing needs in 2024 alone is over 54 billion cedis. Out of these 54 billion cedis, it is just 15 billion cedis that is coming from external support, coming from the IMF and the World Bank. So it means that we have a whopping 39 billion cedis that must be financed from the domestic market in terms of the short end of the yield curve. So what it means is that this is putting pressure on the short end of the yield curve, and this is not sustainable going forward. So I think the proposition is that if we're able to get more concessionary funding in the absence of access to the international capital market and then long-term funding, even from the domestic market, then there are very limited options for turning around our balance sheet.
For his part, Professor Patrick Isumin, an economist, also shares his perspective on the issue.
The discussion with the IMF, the government, the incoming administration has signaled that they are going to have a discussion with the IMF. And I think that discussion is going to be very important. But, the fiscal side, the revenue mobilization, and also the debt management, because that's been a big problem in the last few years. So I think juggling, trying to, remove some taxes to make the business environment more friendly, we're having to raise more revenue because there's literally no fiscal space at all. The incoming administration has to raise revenue to spend.
The coming days will determine whether or not the new government will go back to the IMF for a renegotiation of Ghana's deal. Reporting for CNR Business, my name is Nashika Caesar. Moving on, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana is calling on the new government to prioritize an audit of the Paulogu multi-purpose dam as part of efforts to address systematic agricultural challenges. The association maintains that the dam has the potential to contribute an additional 20 to 30% to Ghana's agricultural GDP. There's more in the following report filed by Emmanuel Opon.
The construction of the multi-purpose dam remains incomplete despite the disbursement of approximately $12 million by the previous administration to the contractor. This delay has sparked concerns among the Peasant Farmers Association, which alleges mismanagement of funds and a lack of accountability in the project's execution. Speaking in an interview, the national president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Awal Adugola, stressed the potential of the dam to significantly mitigate the challenges undermining the country's food security. He noted that completing the project could be a game changer for the agricultural sector.
If this dam is constructed, it can irrigate so much land. A lot of agricultural activities will be going on throughout the year, both during the wet and the dry season. And Ghana should be able to produce enough. And that is why we see the potential of contributing to GDP. We see the potential of this dam equally creating jobs for the youth. We see the potential of this dam, more importantly, providing the needed raw materials for the agro-based industries that is going to form the engine of His Excellency's 24-hour economy. The new government should look into that particular expenditure that was made with regards to the Kwanugu Multipurpose Dam, and yet no work is on the ground to justify that particular expenditure. And this is all what we are calling for.
Another critical area the association is pushing forward is for the new administration to appoint a competent but youthful person to head the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to ensure a turnaround of the sector. For CNR Business, my name is Emmanuel Okon.
And that's it for CNR Business, which was proudly sponsored by MTN and EcoBank. My name is Nashika Caesar. Many thanks for your time.
CNR Business was brought to you by MTN and EcoBank.
Hey guys, so I got this app. It's called Ayoba. It's a chat app that helps me with beauty tips and cooking tips. A super app that feeds me music and the latest sports content. I even use it for my studies. And the good news is I don't need to use my data bundle because I'm on MTN. Chale, the app just did be.
Ayoba, the all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, read, play, pay, and listen. Use Ayoba at no data cost on MTN. Download Ayoba now.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy, chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm in rent. Emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
For this bulletin on the Channel One newsroom. But before we go, let's recap our headlines. President John Dramani Mahama calls for swift investigation into deaths during 2020 and 2024 elections. Oral Committee investigates alleged land encroachment at Northern Development Authority. Renal Patients Association dismisses rumors of suspension of free dialysis policy. And rising prices of essential food items strain households across Ghana. Visit our website channel1news.com for more information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to Channel One TV on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Channel One TV. My name is Charles Osukumi. Thank you for watching.
Are you ready for a show that the whole family can enjoy? Join us on our fun educational adventures as we discover interesting places, meet amazing people like a pilot, a soap maker, a chocolate maker, and more. more! That's not all. You will learn about our culture, explore musical instruments, symbols, and cloth, learn all about Kente, gather around and listen to our folk tales and discover the interesting history behind our stories.
Wow, this show is really informative.
Yeah! We'll also have fun experiments. Whoa! And lots of art activities.
Look at my spider.
So beautiful.
You definitely don't want to miss the Wonder Space Show with Miss Natalie.
Wonder Space!
Watch the Wonder Space Show on Saturdays at 12 noon only on Channel 1 TV.
It's time to reset yourself and everything else around you for success in the new year. Tune in to the Effective Living Series 2025 this January on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. Start your year with insightful discussions and expert tips on personal growth, health, success, and more. From the 6th of January, join Apioko and Caleb Kuda engage our guests with various expertise on the Effective Living Series for a comprehensive guide to resetting your life in 2025.
This is the Effective Living Series 2025
on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. My name is Caleb Kudas.
My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe. Apioko will suffice.
Week 1 kicks off with Personal Reset. Week 2 focuses on resetting your personal economy. Week 3 is all about resetting your health. Week 4, resetting business, calibrate, remodel, and rebuild. Catch the Effective Living Series live on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM and Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV, Monday through Thursday. Don't miss out on transforming your life for the better every week only on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. The Effective Living Series 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Hallmark Cafe. Hallmark Cafe, delight in every sip and bite.
To your favorite Saturday morning TV show right here on Channel 1 TV. This is Breakfast Daily Weekend. On this show, we bring you all the warmth and all the refreshing conversations around what's happening in town, the news, and, you know, some very important lifestyle conversations, you know. So, guys, welcome. My name is Jude Duncan. Of course, I do this with
Eno Safo. We
Amazing.
promise you amazing content as usual, interesting conversation, and some laughter. Definitely sure about that. So, right after this show, and I'm not sacking you from the show, but right after this show at 12 o'clock, the Wonder Space Show
absolutely
is happening. So get all your kids in front of the TV and enjoy the Wonder Space Show. And also there's Effective Living Series.
Yeah, you know, it's, for me, it's just the right starter pack you need to start your year. You know, a lot of the time when there's a new year, we make all the kind of resolutions, right? Then by March, now start to say, exactly, you know. But the Effective Living Series is that guide that helps you plan ahead. It helps you take account of your life, you know, and it helps you make the right decisions in all aspects of life. So, for example, in finance, in health, in family planning, in financial management. Think of any topic you need to better in 2025. The Effective Living Series with Caleb Kuda and Apioko has got you sorted. It airs on radio, City 97.2 FM, every weekday at 9 a.m. and on TV at 9:20 a.m. So don't miss the Effective Living Series. it is just the right starter pack you need to make 2025 a great year. Amazing speakers like Michael Ohene-Fa. You also have Maku Abigail, who's with Stand Chartered, you know, talking about financial. It's a tall list.
Struggling to mention the Stand Chartered. No, you don't save there now.
Actually, Stanbic, not even Stand Chartered.
Oh,
yeah, she's a Stanbic, you know. She has one of their units, amazing lady with deep insight. There's Mami Ikea Gezi, you know, who also has so many insights into the conversation. There's Dr. Promise Sefago. You know what he likes talking about.
What?
You know, the last year on the Effective Living series, or I think 2 years ago, you advised young men to stop sitting in the hot part of the trotro. You know, sometimes the trotro, it's not the seat you can see, it can be the engine area, you know.
Especially the front.
I'm telling, especially, yeah, exactly. The one closer to the driver. You know, so the seat can be very hot. Especially, you're killing the thing. You know, young men, don't do that. The thing. And apparently, it was actually one of, you know, the most watched episodes. Yeah, when he talks about, you know, reproductive health, you know, how to reach, you know, and all of that. So, Effective Living series is your guide. You know, like I said, from finance to family planning to health to, you know, everything you can think of.
Effective Living series.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you listen to Dr. Promise Sefago.
I will do that. Okay, let's get into the papers. I have The Mirror, Ghana's most popular weekend paper. Kantamanto traders count losses, appeal to government for 500 billion Ghana cedis. Kente takes center stage at swearing-in ceremony. New chapter, familiar leaders, as Bagbin returns as Speaker of 9th Parliament. And on the back page, you'll find Forson Amankwa in the spotlights. He is a midfielder with Norwich City in England.
All right, Daily Graphic Weekend Special. Sunyani stool dispute deepens. Two factions and two rival chiefs. It's going to be a long days ahead. Also, yeah, updated EC results make President Mahama winner by 57.42%. Ablekuma North still outstanding. Also at the back page, Nora Haptel's exit and GFA's search for Black Queen's next leader, Rosalind Amor, with this article. Anyway, the Spectator newspaper focuses on the really colorful inauguration ceremony we witnessed on Tuesday, 7 January 2025. The rise of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. It goes on to say a beacon of hope for women. It also talks about the inauguration where it says pomp color at Mahama Prof. Opoku-Agyeman's investiture. And some back page story, sports related. It says sports must thrive in 2025. And also here, MTN FA Cup Hearts Kotoko tipped to advance. You know, the race for the ministerial positions, you know, it's like you say both and you know, and Noah, it's so tight.
Noah Lyles.
I'm telling you.
I have the channel1news.com open. The one is the digit 1, channel1news.com. 2 Eid holidays to begin after Ramadan this year. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama. Appointments Committee to vet Aine Atoforson and Jinapo on January 13. Other stories you'll find on the portal. Mahama directs IGP to investigate 2020-2024 electoral killings. I'll submit recommendations on anti-LGBTQ bill to Mahama. That's according to Haruna Idrisu. Oral committee pays fact-finding visit to NDA office in cantonments. Other stories you'll find. Trump avoids prison or fine in hush money case sentencing. I'll unveil my full cabinet in 14 days. That's according to Mahama. Prioritize the welfare of workers, Jusak tells Mahama. Balmia wife, others embark on pilgrimage to Mecca. Kantamanto fire triggers surge in thrift prices across Accra. Yewu. Man fined 18,000 for posing as military officer on TikTok.
GhanaNewsAgency.org, some big headline stories here. Constituents urge president to recover looted state funds, and that's the big story on GNA. Also, here, governments to keep the lights on. That's a promise from President John Mahama. Also, here, governments to set committee to begin planning of new constitutional review validation. Also coming in from President John Mahama. World Bank to commit $30 million to Ghana's irrigation systems. You already read this. President directs IGP to investigate deaths of Ghanaians during 2020-2024 elections. Also here, will sustain and enhance free SHS policy. President Mahama with that one as well. Able Kumanot, election issues. Returning officer lays down his tools. Recollation suspended. You can't stop halfway like that. For
Actually, I mean, why? Why can't you all come to an agreement and then get the thing done? Because he says that's not his main job. You know, he has taken some days off to, work on this thing, and then every time we have to suspend, a day.
Presidency unveils official portrait for Mahama's second term. And these are some of the big stories on the GhanaNewsAgency.com. I don't know if you brought graphic to us.
Yeah, you forgot you read graphic. You have the paper.
Yeah, but that's like the weekend special.
Well.
Yeah.
But I have citynewsroom.com open. Some of the stories you'll find. Stop destroying state properties. Mahama to NDC supporters. There's no encroachment. Our land is intact. NDA CEO. Mahama pledges additional holiday for Eid al-Fitr celebrations. Mahama has started well. I hope he continues. That's according to Franklin Kujo. Cholera outbreak, 40 people dead, 398 infections confirmed. Atuforsen Jinapo Ayine to be vetted on January 13. Prioritize welfare of workers, Jusak to Mahama. I'll unveil my full cabinet in 14 days. That's according to Mahama. And Bawumia embarks on pilgrimage to Mecca. I think I've already said that. Investigate 2020-2024 electoral killings. Mahama directs IGP. Mahama, justice must be served for 2020-2024 election deaths.
The wildfire that swept through Los Angeles in the U.S.
My goodness. Our very own Bozoma St. John.
Yeah.
Her house was affected, and I've seen the pictures of the before and after the fire swept through, and then there's nothing.
Condolences.
It left absolutely nothing.
I'm sure insurance will kick in.
But apparently, some of the insurance companies pulled out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So some of the homes do not have.
Insurance.
I have not been insured. Yeah.
But it's a system that works, so the government will take care of them.
Yeah,
it
to
may
some
be
extent.
slow, but you get.
But I mean, that location is an affluent
exactly
location,
the point.
so
but
they'll be fine.
Apparently, the mayor of Los Angeles was in Ghana during the inauguration, and critics have gone down on her. They've really bashed her for her failure or her absence during, the wildfire. And of course, you get a pushback to say, a lot of people on social media also saying that, what has the president in Ghana got to do with stopping the fires, right? So it's generated a lot of public interest and people are talking about it. But can we delve into the headlines?
Yes.
So with the story, Sunyani Stool dispute deepens. Two factions and two rival chiefs. Story by Biya Mukusa Ali, based in Sunyani. So various gates vying for the vacant Sunyani Paramount stool are embroiled in a fierce succession dispute leading to the installment of two persons to succeed the late Nana Bosoma Asor and Kariri II. The gates, which have been disputing over who becomes the next Sunyani Manhene, demonstrated their intentions in the open on Monday, 6th January 2025, following the installation of two chiefs. On the same day, the two factions performed the necessary customary rites and installed their preferred successors to the late Sunyani Manhene. While one faction installed Yao Ejari on Monday morning, another also installed one Adum Menu in the evening. Interestingly, the Daily Graphic gathered from the Sunyani Traditional Council that another gate was set to install its claimant to bring the number to 3. The story goes on to talk about some customary rights issues. It says Mr. Jare is a 46-year-old police and correctional officer in the Maryland community in the USA with a stool name or therefore Ojiamansan Buahine Koko II. On the other hand, Mr. Menu who is based in Sunyani, has a stool named Nana Yao Trine Amanfo II. An emergency meeting was held. Both factions were set to hold their respective press conferences last Thursday and make their cases to the public. However, the proposed press conferences were suspended at the 11th hour when the Bono Regional Security Council stepped in to resolve the issue. It talks about the tension that's developing in the area, and the story says the development has brought tension to Sunyani and its surrounding communities. Residents, including businessmen and women, told the Daily Graphic that they were living in fear over the development. They explained that the situation could lead to mayhem, mar the otherwise peaceful atmosphere, and further affect their businesses. They therefore appeal to stakeholders to swiftly intervene to avert any possible disturbances. So, that's a story in Sunyani. Not too much of some pleasant news. Because you understand that two factions and a possible third one are fighting to become Sunyani man Hene. So that's the latest in Sunyani. Hopefully the Regional House of Chiefs are able to step in and resolve the issue amicably for us.
Okay, so I have the Kantamanto traders counting their losses. They're appealing to government for 500 billion Ghana cedis. In the Mirror, page 3 to be exact. Traders at Kantamanto, the second largest second-hand clothes market in Accra, have appealed to President John Dramani Mahama to support them with at least 500 billion Ghana cedis that, according to them, could help them to get back on their feet after fire ravaged the market last week, raising down the entire market. The traders, who are still counting their losses, said though it would take more money to get back to business, the 500 billion Ghana cedis from the government could cushion them in the interim while they worked to get back to serious business. And there are pictures here. Market is already under reconstruction. Some are roofing, but still other shops still have minor flames with smoke. That's some of the pictures that you see. And then if you come to channel1news.com, there's a story here that says that Kantamanto fire triggers surge in thrift prices across Accra. So when you go and buy your clothes in Kantamanto, be mindful. Yatum.
The rise of Professor Opoku Agyeman, Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman, a beacon of hope for women. Watching the inauguration, maybe we should ask our viewers what caught their attention, right? But for me, it was a really colorful ceremony, well organized.
I loved the display of Kente.
The display of Kente, the fashion sense was spot on.
Well-organized inauguration ever.
Did you see Rollins' inauguration? Did you see Rollins? Did you see Kufuor's inauguration?
I saw it.
Did you see Ekufado's inauguration?
Saw it.
Anyway, I mean, a lot of people actually share your sentiments, right? So, it was well coordinated. It didn't look very busy. Yeah. The days were simple, clear, colorful. The sitting arrangement. Yeah. Certain people raised concerns about the use of artificial grass. But don't worry, the matter was dealt with by stakeholders on social media.
But where were they going to get plants? The Black Star Square is already a concrete jungle. I mean, where were they going to get green grass for?
I don't have answers for it. But the point is that foot soldiers dealt with the matter. Yeah.
But we all know what the Black Star Square looks like.
Yeah, but I think the bigger picture, of people raised those concerns was the fact that we need to take our green spaces in Accra more seriously, right? And not having to import artificial grass and all of those things, which I think is a fair point. But probably the timing of it, right?
No, not even that. So the Black Star Square, it sees a lot of people go there. And you're not supposed to trample on grass, because the more you do it, you leave it to die.
But we're trying to create an impression of grass.
If Ghanaians would use the pathways within the grass that will be planted, fine. But if you're going to trample on the grass, then what's the point?
Yeah, I'm saying that foot soldiers dealt with those concerns. So
right. let it go. Okay.
Back to the inauguration, a lot of people share your sentiments, like you rightly said. They felt it was well coordinated. The coverage, the drone shots, the planning. You can just imagine the kind of work that went into it.
As at 3 a.m., the place, the Popular Stand was full.
Yeah, they were there to support His Excellency.
Oh my word.
Charlie, and His Excellency, wow. Oh, Charlie. So
I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
His Excellency Wa.
No,
Okay.
Her Excellency
Her
Wa.
Excellency Wa. Interesting.
The Spectator has an interesting editorial on Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Like many have said, she's shattered the glass ceiling, right? And she's made a lot more young women believe that indeed it's possible.
It is possible.
Not the...
but it is possible to shatter the glass ceiling.
Exactly, to rise to the very high, standards or the very high places in society. And for a lot of people, it was when the Chief Justice, also a lady, swearing in Ghana's first female vice president. And, for a lot
Both
of young
products
people.
of Wesley Girls.
Exactly. Towards the end, that little Live Pure, when she
I think it's a motto.
Yeah, it's their school motto.
Their school motto, yeah.
It was a moment of pride for a lot of people. Right, so maybe just brief excerpts. Okay, it's actually a story by Ken Afeji, where the founder and general overseer of the King's Pride World Chapel International, Dr. Sam Ankra, not Kranchi Ankra, this is Dr. Sam Ankra, has described the ascension of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman to the office of the Vice President as a significant recognition and affirmation of women's capability and the roles of leadership in society. We wish Madam Vice President well, and we hope that her tenure will not only be a token of but will be a proper representation of the qualities of the Ghanaian woman, and I have no doubt that she will excel in her role.
Oh,
she's the first of many.
Yes.
Right.
And she needs to excel in her role. I remember when there was an interview that Obama's wife did, Michelle Obama, and she was saying that because they were the first black family, there was this pressure. There was this, what was the word that, I'm trying to remember the word that she used, but for lack of it, there was a bit of pressure on them to prove that.
Yeah.
Indeed. So I'm sure she's also feeling the weight
Absolutely.
on her shoulders.
Absolutely.
That she has to, she shattered the glass
Absolutely.
ceiling, but there's this pinnacle.
threshold.
Yes, there's a threshold that we're going to hold her to, and she has to, overperform.
Thankfully for her, she comes into the office
record.
with a very good track record, a Fulbright scholar, all of that. The first of many, first vice chancellor, former minister of education. So she's coming to the office here with a wealth of experience, right? And I don't think she's going to be a pushover.
No.
I'm pretty sure she should be able to really assert herself. I was reading, and also just because you mentioned it, I was reading Obama's recent book, A Promised Land. And, he raised the point about how at a point in his administration, in the second term, a lot of female appointees, who were even in very high places, felt like their voices were not being heard.
Right.
And he had to go about it, trying to get them to contribute. But the point is that she has the experience, right? She's been there for some time. So I'm sure that she should be able to assert herself in the role. And, like she said on the night of the acceptance speech, when it was officially declared that they had won the election, go back to her statement. She said she was going to keep the door open. And for me, that was a very powerful statement.
Right.
A lot of the time, when people are the first to do something, they want to be in that exclusive list, right? But the point is that you also be remembered for how many more people took after you, right? How many more people you inspired to even dream higher than you.
Right.
And that's the true essence of leadership. So for me, it was a great speech that night where she said that she's going to keep the door open. So we'll be reminding her of that promise, right? And all the other promise they made to Ghanaians, including in
the first 120 days.
In Kete. And no, I need it because my light soup with chicken. So we'll be keeping her, we'll be holding her to her word.
Yes,
but
definitely.
Congratulations, Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, and Vice President, Her Excellency Wa, Charlie, Prof. Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman.
If you pick the mirror, you'll see the inauguration in pictures on page 429 and in the middle page. And Kente takes center stage at swearing-in ceremony, and there are various displays of Kente being worn by all the guests, and including the president and the vice president.
But you should see some of the running jokes around the inauguration.
Oh, really?
You know, Ghanaians can be so creative. Like, they find, you know, they find laughing moments in everything.
In everything.
You know, it's interesting. You know, they had the inaugural dinner.
Yes.
Where like very close people to the first family, you know, their friends, government appointees, their families were there.
Right.
And somebody posted on Twitter that, you know, during the collation periods where it was really tensed, you know, some NDC officials were posting on their socials, 5K men needed urgently, you know. Whatever that meant, you know.
What does that mean?
You know, I mean, the interpretation at the time was that people should mass up, right? Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. But when it was time for the inaugural dinner, that one did.
They didn't come for 5,000.
They didn't come for 5K, man. It was mother side, father side. Yeah. You know, this 4 years is going to be a long one.
I tell you.
It's going to be a very long 4 years because there's only much you can do, right? And there's opposition breathing in your neck, reminding you of all your promises you made, you know, from 2020. You know, it's going to be interesting, you know.
Yeah, yeah. There's this page 13 in the Mirror. 2025 must be your year of healthy habits, and I think we've been preaching healthy eating on our platform, especially on Sundays if you watch us. So there's a Ghanaian salad here that, and they're teaching you the health benefits of cabbage as well. I think we spoke about that on Sunday with Mr.
William Hansen.
Yeah, Mr. Hansen. And he was telling us how cabbage can, you know, if you blend it and drink it first thing in the morning, and if you have ulcer, they should call me and let me know what happens, because it'll clear it out. Yeah. So they're teaching you the health benefits of cabbage. They're also teaching you how to make Ghanaian salad and why 2025 must be your year of healthy habits. And the writer is a dietitian, so you obviously know that they're telling you a bit of truth. So
I know, yeah. Just maybe the story that we can call it quit. And also, you mentioned Trump, right? Because he's the first felon to be elected president of the United States. You know, that guy keeps, you know, rewriting the history books. And it's interesting to see. You should see the videos and the pictures from the late President Jimmy Carter's funeral.
I saw it. You know, and I saw him and Obama share a conversation. Incredible. And then they were laughing.
You know, then Kamala
and did you see Kamala turn and then turn around like that was the most hilarious thing ever.
You know, so like, there was this account on social media, actually a TikTok account, which like chronicled the whole thing. Okay. So like from the arrival of the Bidens, the arrival of, you know, and the silent, so that there was no cordiality, no hello, hi, you know, but also the other side is that it was a very solemn moment. So this was not a time for like chit-chatting. But Obama and Trump defied that, right?
I'm telling you.
You know,
so Michelle didn't come with President
but
Obama.
It was Laura and George Bush.
But I was wondering if she would have been sitting next to Trump.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see
how that would look like. Whatever the case is, you know, the Joe Biden, Kamala, you know, is one talking point.
Yeah.
Trump, Obama, another talking point. There was even a time George Bush, you know, sought to like whack Obama in the stomach, but that appeared quite friendly. And of course, there's Joe Biden, who it's been rumored that was sleeping there. But I can't really fault him. He's 80s, in his 80s.
He's in his 80s.
When he entered Congress, Jimmy Carter was there.
Yeah.
It speaks to the longevity,
yeah.
You know. So incredible stuff. You know, just finally with this story, 3 dead as police foil attempts to steal gold from Newmont's mining site. A really disturbing story. The Ghana Police Service has successfully restored order in the Ntotroso in the Ahafo region after a group of individuals. This story is on Channel 1 TV, channel1news.com. After a group of individuals allegedly attempted to break into the Newmont mining site to steal gold on the night of Wednesday, 8 January 2025, the incident escalated into a confrontation with the personnel of the Ghana Police Service, resulting in the death of 3 persons with 4 others sustaining injuries. In a statement on Thursday, 9 January, the police informed that calm has been restored in the town following an engagement between the Inspector General of Police and community leaders and youth. The quote says the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, worked on the phone with the regional police team to engage community leaders and the youth to stabilize the situation, and there has been no reprisal attacks or escalation of the situation in the community. The presser read. An investigative team has been deployed to the community to investigate the incident. Reinforcement has also been sent to the community to restore calm. The police revealed that the 3 deceased are Muslims and due process of the law is being followed to release their bodies to their families for burial. And the police further urged residents to remain calm. Wow. So that's the news. 3 dead in an attempt, allegedly in an attempt to steal gold from Newmont's mining site in Ahafo, in the Ahafo region. Wow, and also, it is what it is.
It is what it is. That's our...
Yeah, but like we were asking, what was your favorite moment from the inauguration?
I think it was how well organized it was. The fact that if you're not allowed in certain perimeters, you're not going in. And the Kente
Akosia was breaking
Akosia broke the rules and regulations.
No, we have to report it. We have to report it to the IGP.
But it was for the benefit of Channel 1 TV.
You, amazing, splendid.
And I will tell you
interviews.
this: our competitors were calling their people. How are the Channel 1
people in there? Yeah.
Interviewing the people in there.
That is Akosia Ultra for you.
Thank you.
No,
and Umaru Sanda Madu.
She be
big
woman.
like Nana Jane said. She has broken the
yes, Akosia is breaking the thing.
You see that
entry
thing.
places.
You see that thing.
Yeah. For me, it was the quality of the conversations with the very important people close to the thing, right? So I don't recall the last time somebody, had that much access and was able to speak to Julius Debra. For the life of me, I don't remember the last time we granted an interview.
Granted an interview.
Omane Boama, Alex Segbefia, Joyce Bauer, who's the president's spokesperson, name it. Now special aid during the campaign, she was spokesperson. Dr. Dufour, lovely interview where he talks about the fact that he's not interested in a position for now as part of the older generation. He's into guiding the younger ones. That was a fantastic take. Akosia delivered it too.
Oh, she delivered. Yeah. She delivered. Other stations were like, get inside there and go and do some of the interview. But yeah, tell us what your favorite moments or what stood out for you from the integration was. We will be willing and ready to read that.
Maybe I should just share mine.
Do you remember? Let me give the WhatsApp number, then you can share yours.
No problem.
Okay, so don't forget to send it to the WhatsApp number 0204-447-033. 0204-447-033. Alternatively, you can send it via social media using the hashtag BreakfastDailyWeekend. Jude, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say that for me, it was probably the raw Captain Ibrahim Traore had. I'm still processing why that much apparent love, for him. When he walked up to President Mahama on
the side arm.
The side arm. I think you are making a big deal out of it, right? But like the raw, the cheer, right from when he was walking in, even Ghana police officers, wanting to have a piece of the guy. You could clearly tell that he's a man loved in Ghana. And the president had even said that in a video, right, to some Burkinabe press. So for me, I'm still processing why and how that love. That is my first major.
Maybe when you see Mahama, you can ask him.
Yeah.
Or you can ask Ghanaians.
Why? He's a cool leader, right? He came to office through the barrel of the gun.
Yeah.
It's something that, for the past 30 years, we've not seen happen in this country because we've resorted to democracy. So it was surprising to see that clamor and that show of love for him. But hey, Ghanaians, you can never predict them, right? So
was it love or was it?
It was love. The cheer. It was,
I mean, I heard the roar from the public. So yeah.
There were videos where people wanted to just touch him. Like the story in the Bible, they wanted to touch the hem
of his outfit.
The guy is a major guy. So Captain Ibrahim Traore, no,
he do all.
But he be major guy.
All right, so that's it. We'll be right back after this. Don't go away. Don't pick that remote. We'll be right back.
Life is a celebration of moments. Big and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink adds a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Celebrate every moment with Piva Drink. Refreshment for every occasion. Piva Drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
Get ready for a day of gratitude and nostalgia at the Swesco Annual All-Year Group's Thanksgiving and Remembrance Service. Join us on Sunday, January 19th, 2025 at the ICGC Christ Temple at Bosilokai in Accra at 2 p.m. The service will also mark the launch of the 66th anniversary celebrations of Swesco. Wear your Swesco cloth and be part of this special gathering. Contact your year group president for further details. Let's make this a day to remember. See you there.
What's happening?
Absolutely. And you caught me off guard.
Are you serious?
I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, what's happening? Like, what's happening?
You're 2 seconds too late.
I'm sorry. I'll see
But
some
yeah.
story here. That's come our attention.
Okay.
Yeah, what's happening? Like, for
Yeah,
real,
what's happening?
Like, there's a lot happening.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could answer you. Yeah, like, there's a lot happening. You know, the past 30 days in Ghana has been like
A turmoil of so many events, so many events, and there's more happening, and we'll be bringing them to you right here.
Absolutely.
Let's start with Experience Volta Region 2025. So you're going to kickstart the year with an unforgettable trip to the Volta region. It is an education-centered, fun-filled, inspiring event where you get to go to the Volta region and see what is going on. So that Experience Volta region happening live today.
But have you been to the Volta region before?
I have been. It's lovely.
What was your experience?
I slept in a tent. I told you that, by the beach.
Yeah, and I told you that Ming.
You would do.
But was that your first time?
Yes, actually. Well, no. That was like my second time in the Volta region, but
Wow.
that was the first time I slept by the beach.
Which I feel.
Yeah,
Hello.
that was fun.
Let me tell you about what if I do. Charlie, what if I do? You know, it's an education-centered, fun-filled, inspiring play you don't want to miss. Right? Happening today at the National Theatre. 5 p.m. is the first show airing time, and the second show is at 8 p.m. And there you have it on your screen. Like I said, happening today, National Theatre, the Folks Place. It's by Agape Arts Production, let me say, and tickets are on sale. 80 CDs single, 100 CDs VIP, and 150 CDs double. So what if I do? It sounds like an interesting play. So that's with it. If you are looking for a place to just, you know, chill, watch something, have fun, you know, check what's happening, I want to recommend What If I Do.
So over the holidays, I went to watch some of the plays that were happening, and I had a
good
blast.
time. I'm
I had
happy
a blast.
for you.
I love plays. I'll take you one day.
You should. You should.
I'll take you one. I love stage plays. It's different. Because you can't make a mistake. Because if you make a mistake, that's it. Or if you lose your lines, that's it. Because everything is happening live and in action. And there was so much happening on the stage. And it was like a Ghan setting. And it was amazing.
I can absolutely feel it.
We'll go. One day we'll go. So this is happening today, right?
Yeah, happening today at the National Theatre, the Folks Place. 5 p.m. is the first show, 8 p.m. second show.
Okay.
Caramel
Corner Market.
Charlie.
Caramel Corner
they just say chocolate too. But apparently it's a lot more. It's authentic arts, crafts, fashion, textiles, food and drinks. You know, and you are going to get to meet skilled artisans and artists, fashion designers from across Accra and Ghana. It's happening at the W.E. Du Bois Center. Guess what? It's also today.
Yeah. At the W.E.B. Du Bois Center, Accra, today.
Yeah.
At, what's the time? 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Caramel Corner Market. I'm wondering, caramel is sweet, so it's going to be a sweet event.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Caramel is sweet, so it's going to be a sweet event. So arts, crafts, food, drinks, and more. When they say the and more, they're trying to whet your appetite. So we'll go there and figure out what the and more is. And there's a Jersey party.
Apparently, at
Rep
Garage.
Your favorite Jersey.
Have you been to Garage before?
No.
You've not been there before?
I have not been there.
But what happens there? Is it like a car?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I should be asking you.
I don't know.
You've been to?
The name sounds interesting for me.
You've not been?
No, I've not been.
You've not been to Garage before?
No, I've not been.
Oh, it's the, you know, the place to be.
So they don't park cars there?
No, please.
They party
there. It's a
there.
party.
Oh, okay.
It's a pub. Club-ish setting. Lounge. Is there a lounge? I think so. I mean, I've seen videos of, but...
Okay, so
like... rep your jersey.
It's a jersey party.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't wear a jersey, you can't enter.
I'm guessing, well, that one isn't wearing a jersey. so for instance, you'd be wearing a Chelsea jersey, and I'll be in my
Liverpool jersey. Is it only related to football or jerseys?
I'm guessing, of course. It could be anything. Cool. NBA, NFL. So far as you're in a jersey, you can go there. Happening also today, starting at 8:30 p.m., but I'm sure people start trooping in around like 10-ish.
I have a Vancouver Grizzlies basketball jersey I've not worn yet.
Okay.
So yeah,
so here's an opportunity to wear that jersey. Here's an opportunity to wear that jersey.
Wow.
Happening today at the Garage at 8:30 p.m.
Garage inside East Legon, right?
Yes. You've never been? See, even our producers and directors are shocked.
So they are shocked that I don't know
you haven't been to Garage?
I don't know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna understand.
I know it's in East Legon.
You're lying. You know why I know you're lying? Because
what make you think I'll lie to you about a place I've not been to?
Listen, 2 or so years ago, for Ama's birthday.
It wasn't Garage.
It was Garage.
It was somewhere else.
It was Garage. I couldn't make it, but I know all those who were.
Let's move on.
Duncan, you were there.
It wasn't Garage.
You were there.
It wasn't Garage.
For Ama's birthday, you were there.
It wasn't Garage.
You were there. It wasn't Garage initially.
It was your earlier shock, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I almost believed you. Good one there.
Let's support the Jersey party.
Yes, Jersey party happening at Garage, one of Jude's hangouts. So you see him there wearing his what jersey was it?
It's a basketball jersey.
A basketball jersey. Right. So the African party happening tomorrow inside Takoradi. It's an unforgettable evening filled with 100% African food, drinks, games, and music. So you're getting ready to dance, socialize, and celebrate in a vibrant atmosphere that promotes African culture. It's happening at the Shocks Hub, Takoradi Mall, starting at 3 p.m. and it's 100 cities. Dress code Afro-urban. What's Afro-urban? So you have a bit of
Shepe, kakra,
like
African
print with maybe jeans, kakra.
I say hip, no.
but with African blend.
Yeah, I say hipster.
So an African something with something like some jeans or Afro-urban. I think you can interpret it the way you feel, and you go have some fun. 100 Ghana Cities, African party happening, Shocks Hub inside the Takoradi Mall. Ooh, this one seems like extreme fun. International Kite Festival.
Have you flown a kite before?
I have flown a kite before, but I was very young. I hope it's the kind of kite I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think so too. Cause
International Kite
all
Festival.
over
Yeah, it's all over the flyers. So, yeah, this will be fun. It's like your inner child coming out to play. This will be fun.
But we need to go back to the old, because I don't see any kites being flown around now. Everybody is holding a tablet.
Tablets.
And they are playing Angry Birds and Candy Crush. Charlie. So back in the day, this used to be the thing.
Outdoors.
We actually taught how to make one and how to fly one. But you don't see all of those things again.
I don't think if you speak to a Gen Alpha, they'll know how to.
What the kite is.
What the kite is. I mean, they'll
probably won't know.
But they don't know how to make it or even how to fly it.
They make them itself. I forgot him, so it's cool. But I'm telling you that a lot of people won't know what it is.
And even sometimes they used to tie a cloth around them and then hold the ends and be running around. Yeah. That was a form of a kite, no? Or it wasn't a form of a kite.
Maybe out there, where you are going there, I beg you.
Because wasn't that a form of that's just a completely different thing.
They explain.
No, because I know a kite, you do the shape.
But that was not part.
But a prayer and I be saying like a cross and then
so what you're describing in the kite all depended on like the movement of the wind too. But
that wasn't us trying to feel like we are kites flying. Okay.
Wow,
so this is happening on Sunday. It says 9:30 a.m. onwards at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. There's a kite fight. And full DJ music, food and drinks on sale. I like that, on sale. And so there are going to be kites and manja on sale at the venue. Yeah, I think this is the Indian community in Ghana. Even the name, Makar Sankranti Kites Festival. Join the biggest kite flying celebration of Ghana.
Wow, and on this note, it's my singular honor to announce that officially December party is in the New Year. It is over. We beg you. It is okay. This
one that the way I talk is like skin pain, something.
Monday reset. You are going back to work. Charlie, full. The creations and things. They have to remove it's okay. Can you imagine that? I went to a barber. My barber is like upgrading his place, right? So he had decommissioned this. So I went to another place to go barb my hair. I saw the thing. I've come to park a car there. He started watching me separate differently. And I enter. Oh, good morning. I'm speaking English with him. I asked him how much a haircut is going. When he mentioned the price, then I just walked out quietly. But I can't even fault it because the people I met then, we beg, it's okay. December, we said that, it's okay.
I saw a video of a girl.
It's okay.
Braiding, was it boho goddess braids? She's like, oh my God, it's so cheap. I paid 800 Ghana cedis for it. And I know not everybody in Ghana living in Ghana can afford it. And then people are telling her that she's cheating the girl who's braiding her hair. Because when she converts it to dollars, it's like $25 or something.
There's the currency, the weak currency bit to the conversation. But the point is that people are also ripping off.
Of course. They're making their dirty December money.
And the people too, they are making the thing some way. Because, it's okay.
But when you go next time, speak Chi or Gan.
Yeah, some of the things that those even come, they can speak the Chi down, but still now, the purchasing power is there. And it's okay.
My friend will ask, I don't the machine basing me to know where you mean now.
December New Year parties, no, and no. Be a baby now, enjoy. you know, that's all time will allow us for you know, an exciting segment on what's happening, where we get to bring you all the exciting events happening later in town tonight, and of course tomorrow. We'll take a quick break. When we're back, we'll have more for you. Don't go away.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready poor mattress anymore? Don some slippers, then follow me. It is by the mattress we did the front there. Yeah? That'll be the mattress where the dead for time. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like Ash Foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
What are you doing in the kitchen? If you want to come to my house and touch things, you need to ask permission from me. I know it's your father's house, but it's been willed to me. I own this house now.
You call this a house? This thing? Don't worry, eh?
Go to a better place.
Oh, don't worry. Okasawa.
Why you who say you want to move me and say tea bread? What the number one thing I would do, but we need to
We are very, very okay.
Oh,
very, very okay.
We okay, I'm packed.
Hey, Kaka, you good? Shall I talk? Not the right paper. I pass finish.
Menya bema opese oye me ho ade.
Crossed by blood. Oh, I crossed by blood.
It's
You're welcome back to Breakfast Daily Weekend right here on Channel 1 TV. My name is Inosafo and I do this with Jude Duncan every weekend at 7 a.m. Joining us to discuss decorating your rented home without damaging the space is our very own Selim, the Dream Maker. Hi, Selim.
Hi, Ino.
How are you doing?
I'm perfect.
Are you well rested?
Not really.
I you just told us that you're still on break.
I was still working through. I mean,
Jude, I'm jealous.
It was just a partial break. I'm not fully rested.
I'm jealous.
Why?
Extremely jealous.
Why are you jealous?
Because you've rested.
No.
We've been working throughout.
No.
You haven't rested.
Not really. Not like I expected. No.
Well. Anyway, we've been asking our viewers what their most memorable moments of the inauguration was. I'm sure you watched a bit, if not all, of the ceremony.
Yeah,
so maybe you can share with us what you're...
From a decor perspective.
Yeah, from a decor perspective.
Okay. So like you just said, from a decor perspective, I think for me, the team that put together the whole setup, I mean, it was top notch. They did well.
I mean, they did well. The color coordination was quite on point. The layout, actually, you see, when I saw the pictures before the inauguration, I think a night before, people started showing. I didn't even realize it was the same venue we've been using all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't realize it was the same. I thought it was a different location. Yes, I mean, they did well. They gave us something new, something different, yes. And I mean, the event was colorful. The event was colorful, from fashion to decoration to, I mean, everybody was looking like everybody was looking like Shepe, and I was glad to see a lot of young people. I mean, the parliamentarians, young people here and there. I listened somewhere, I think in that city also, one of the young MPs was being interviewed. Everybody was actually fascinated about how this MP and his wife were actually ushered in as if it was their wedding anniversary. As if it was their wedding anniversary. I mean, it was very glamorous, honestly. I mean, the event was very, very glamorous.
Interesting. Okay. And you have any messages for us just before we go? All right, so Mame from Adabraka says, OMG, this is the best inauguration I've experienced. The details, the caliber of dignitaries, the love shown. Goes on to add, could be fake, but who cares? The display of culture, Quintino, my overall first female vice president being sworn in. My joy is full, jaw. Happy New Year, guys. Love you to bits. And this is from Mame in Adabraka. Thank you for sending in your message, Mame. We can move into the conversation now.
Yeah, decorating your rented home without damaging the space. I know when you go into a new space, you're tempted to hang picture frames or air conditioning. Sometimes they goes in the wall. Yeah. How can we avoid all of that? I don't know where we can begin from. So, Salom, over to you. Over to you, Julasi.
I think this whole issue, from my research and experience, it's not here alone. I mean, it's all over the place. Everywhere you go, people experience same issue. Rented properties, you want to do your own thing, but it's either you are restricted, you end up damaging something. I mean, it's a lot of challenge. So at the end of the day, most people just, let me just leave it like that. It's not, after all, it's not my house. After all, it's not mine. So why do I waste all this energy, all this money? I mean, sometimes, from experience, some people also claim my landlord is too strict. My landlord won't allow you to do anything. Not even hang pictures, not even drill anything. I mean, sometimes, you see, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I mean, if you're able to put up a house, spend all your money, your savings to bring up a house, some of these drilling, hanging pictures alone is mostly not just about putting you have to drill holes, right? Yeah. I mean, traditionally, that's what we all know. And if you don't take care, remember, there are electrical cables and plumbing cables all over in the walls and on the ground. So if you don't take care, you might end up running into some of these pipes, which will cause issues later on. So, I mean, some years back, I was always fighting with landlords until I entered this profession. And I realized, you see, some of these, the little drilling, you'll be somewhere and they call you, the pipe is burst in the bathroom because someone was trying to install something. Right. And they didn't know that there were plumbing lines here, you see. So sometimes they try to, okay, you know what, I'll bring my own person to come and do it for you. Not because they are greedy or jealous or whatever, because probably this person was part of the construction and they know, I mean, every little part of whatever they put up there. So they can easily tell you that, okay, this here, this line, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. So it's a lot of challenge. I mean, the house is not yours. So the house is not yours, but at least, I mean, in this generation we are now, 2025, there are so many innovative ways. There are so many things popping up you can actually make good use of. Right. That will still, yes, sometimes not all of them are permanent measures. Some of them are just a little bit temporal. Like you can easily take out after a while.
So yes, if I get you correctly, the fact that you've rented the house or the space doesn't mean that you can do anything like that.
Of course, I mean, the house is not yours. You can't just do anything.
Wow.
Yes,
You know, 'cause
whatever.
it's a topic that, you know, generates a lot of like public interest around, because people want their privacy, people want their things done a certain way. Why they don't want to be seen to be being restricted.
Yeah.
You know, with what they can do to create that comfortable space that they want. So, you know, it's a dicey area to broach. But let me just take your thoughts around. You talk about drilling, right? How about the laying of carpets, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe you enter a room, it's probably tiled. Then now you have to put in carpet, which will involve the use of glue, right? But for some reason, the landlord is saying ABC. Are there alternatives to begin with? So for the floor, you know, putting your carpets on without destroying the original state of the floor.
Yeah. So I mean, you might go into the house, you don't really like the color of the tiles, right? There are carpets, you can easily cover the floor, just put something to cover it. But then also there are carpets that do not really require gluing them. You get it? There are some carpets like that, you can just lay them. And then there are those ones that also require you to stick them. If not, either it'll be shifting from time to time here and there. I mean, if the place is very busy, right? But even with that, I think the gluing is easy to clean. When you are leaving and you take it off, you can easily get a cleaning.
Sometimes, you know, it leaves that like...
Sometimes, that's if they don't do it well.
Okay.
Or if you don't get professionals to do it for you. I mean, it can easily, especially if it's a glossy tile. The most difficult ones are the matte tiles. Those ones, a lot of them are not, I mean, stain resistant, and you get it, so they are very difficult to clean them. But if it's glossy, I mean, most of the time it can easily be cleaned. So I think it's, for me, I believe it's far better than, I mean, thinking of removing the tiles and replacing it. I mean, just cover it with either carpet or an area rag, or whether to glue it or not. They are also vinyl. Those also require gluing as well. Those vinyl stickers, you get it, that can easily be removed. I mean, most of them are self-sticking. You don't need to apply extra glue. Those ones are easy to remove without staining the floor. Except that the self-sticking ones, a lot of the time, do not stick permanently. After a while, they might come off. After a while, most of them might come off. So some people apply extra glue to make it last longer. So whichever way, just remember it is still a risk you are taking. But then also, I think it's far better to, before you move in, try and have this discussion with your landlord. Like, this is what you intend to do. Maybe I don't like the paint color, or I don't like the flooring. Can I do this? Can I change it? Can I cover it with whatever? I mean, it's far better to discuss it. Let them give you the go-ahead than to do it with your own will. Do you get it? At the end of the day, when you stay in it, they'll tell you, I didn't ask you to do it.
Are there modern ways to, you know, hang your art or your pictures without necessarily drilling into the wall and leaving, you know, marks?
Yeah. I mean, yes, there are. These days, there are even adhesives that can easily be used to glue some of these hanging, some of these frames on the walls without having to. There are hooks, these kind of, I mean, how do you call it? Hooks. A lot of the hooks are not permanent. They can't really take heavy duty frames. Yes. So it's either, what I see some people do is, yes, it is self-sticking, but they still apply glue to it, so that it can stick very well, and it can actually take up no matter the weight of whatever frame you are putting on there. Yes, there are quite a lot of some of these things all over. If you go to the market, if you go to the supermarket, you get some of these hooks or adhesive. Also try and check at the back of the frame you are using, what kind of hook do you get it? What kind of provisions are made? Some require you to drill. Most of the time, some of the frames that only have a thread that you can just hang on a nail. Apart from that, you can't. You get, so you might have to either drill and put a hole in there. There are some too that they are made in different ways, so you just have to check those things first before you make the commitment to buy. Right.
Wow. Let's talk about painting now. You know, I wanted to talk about what to do and not to do from the tenant perspective. We'll come to that later.
Yeah.
But just a little on painting. You received clear orders from the landlord that I don't want a different color of painting, right? stemming from the fact that maybe they are not sure of the quality of the paint you are buying, blah blah blah, and whether or not you even do a good job.
Yeah.
So will you then say the use of wallpapers can be an alternative to, you know, cover it, and also, you know, because you're able to remove it and understand when you want to. Talk to us about the use of wallpaper and how that can be an alternative for paint in your personal spaces.
For painting, I think in that manner aspect, I think that is quite understand. A lot of the landlords understand that aspect better, because I mean it doesn't really cause so much damage to the property.
So it's not a major issue.
Well, in some instances, from what I know, they would paint for you, or they will let you paint, but make sure when you are leaving, you paint it back to whatever color you came to meet it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear that a lot.
If you still don't like the color, I mean, you can go for any of these wall coverings, like a wallpaper, wall cloth, or whatever, which most of the time when you are leaving, either you pull it off, which means you still have to paint the wall, because pulling it off means it's going to also peel the paint that was already there. So you have to make sure you pull it, repaint before you leave. So if you can do that, that's
are there wallpapers for, you know, outside?
Yeah, there are. There are some that are water resistant and actually can withstand the weather exterior. So yes, maybe the balcony, you want to cover those portions of the balcony. Maybe there is all those outdoor spaces. There are some that are also made with different materials.
I think you brought some the last time.
Yes, some that are made with different materials that can also withstand some of the weather outside. Yeah, there are quite a lot of options. It's just unfortunate most people are exposed to only the paper type.
Yeah.
That is what is very popular on the market. So maybe I won't blame them.
Let's talk about the tenants, right? Because, you know, they are the ones who encounter or have to deal with the problem a lot more. What do you say should, you know, tenants should not involve themselves, you know, should not do when they enter a space and they feel like they want to change certain things? What are like the lines they can't cross?
Before you answer that too, let me just add a bit of it. You know, sometimes I think tenants would also pay, I don't know what it's called, but it's for damages and things. So in their mind, once that is paid,
they can be at liberty to do everything they want to do.
Well, that is true. I mean, not every landlord charges that, though. And I realize that is very popular a lot in Accra. Not everywhere. Mostly, yes, not elsewhere. In Accra, a lot of them would take what do you call it, security deposit or whatever, yes, so that when you are leaving, they would come and inspect to see if you damage something, and then if you don't, I think mostly it's refundable. If everything is checked and I mean, whatever, they'll refund your money to you. So. Still, sometimes some of the damages will go beyond. The security deposit is just like 1 month's rent most of the time. So if it's 2,000 cedis or 4,000 cedis or whatever, sometimes what if the damage you created
is more than
right? So in such instances, I know some of the tenants would go into a contract, an agreement with the landlord that I'm doing this and this and this, or I'm changing the whole structure and renovating it with my own money. What can we do about that? Sometimes it's okay, go ahead. Maybe I would deduct it from your next rental. Do you get it? Sometimes some of them will also tell you, oh, please, that's none of my business. That is none of my business. I've told you not to make any changes. So if you want to go ahead, that is your costs. I don't want to have any. So just know where to draw the line. Know your limits. Discuss this with the landlord. Don't go, because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't know. I can't really talk much about the legalities of some of these things, but it's still not your property. You are just renting.
There's a question here for you. Joanne K Post wants to know, is it advisable to even spend on decorating a rented apartment, looking at the fact that it is not yours?
Oh, decorating, yes, you have to, you can. I mean, you need to have a good space. You need to have a lovely space. Decorating it doesn't mean that you have to damage other stuff. Do you get it? There are so many things you can bring in that could help you have a livable space without having to damage drill holes. Like I was saying, if it's the flooring you think you don't like, there are so many options. Right? There are so many options. You can either use the vinyl stickers that look exactly like tiles, right? Just that they come in a different material, or cover the floor with carpets, or rugs, or whatever. Do you get it? If it's a wall paint you don't like, I seem to, if the space is not mine, I'm renting and the house or the building is not mine, I seem to go mostly stick to neutral colors if you want to paint. Okay. Do you get it? If it's white, I will always opt for white.
Don't go and do red and Charlie green and Charlie do green and things.
No, at the end of the day, white is almost universal. White can actually match with almost any color.
Do you get it? Black oil paint.
Easy for you. Yeah. It makes things easy for you.
There's another one here. Good morning. I'm renting a small apartment and I feel like it's hard to make it feel like home. Can you give me some tips on how to decorate without damaging the space? Michelle in Medina sent that.
Okay, so Michelle, like I was just saying, I mean, stick to neutral colors. You get it? Things that, yes, so if I come in and the place is white, most of the time I won't bother myself changing the color. Yes, because no matter the color of my sofa, it will fit. No matter the color of my carpet, it will still work together. Do you get it? You try and another thing is mostly, when it comes to furniture, try and make good use of modular furniture, cabinets, modular sofa. These days, there are sofas that you can easily disassemble and rearrange them anyhow you want. You see, it makes things easy for you so that you don't think of, I'm in a new space is bigger, let me buy a new sofa. Right. Do you get it? I mean, there are lighting options that do not, that's also another delicate subject, the electricals. You want to add more lighting, right? But most of the time, traditionally, lighting means extra connection, extra whatever. But these days, there are so many ways you can, I don't know if you've seen these magnetic lights all over on the market, right? Wireless lighting that do not require any whatever on the walls. You just need to buy them, pull them, and then stick to the wall. Some are rechargeable, some use battery. Do you get it? And they look basically just like some of the wall sconces we have. Some of them, I mean, even with pendants. Right. Do you get it? If it's a walls, you want to stick them to under cabinet lighting. A lot of these are magnetic that do not require any extra. So in this case, you see, you just need to apply a lot of problem-solving mindset, a lot of creativity. There are things on the market, be ready to explore. Most people just go to one shop, they don't get what they like and they think that's it. No. There are things all over the place. If you are ready to import or buy online, I mean, it's not that difficult. You just need time to wait. Go online, Amazon, Alibaba, whatever. There are a lot of them all over the place. You get it? And they are not expensive too. They are not expensive. So
there's a question here. Hello, Eno and Jude. Please ask Selom if there are any specific decorating styles or trends that work particularly well in rented homes.
For rented home, I would advise stick to any of the minimalist styles. Those ones do not require too many stuff, too many different colors, too many. I mean, minimalist decoration styles are mostly contemporary, Scandinavian. These ones mostly are usually made of neutral colors. Do you get it? A lot of space, which means you don't need to bring in too many furniture, too many items. Do you get it? So minimalist decor are usually very easy to decorate, very easy to find, even the accessories, right? As compared to the others, the traditional, the vintage, all those things are mostly very hard to come by and very difficult to pull together as well. You get it? At the end of the day, you are bringing together too many colors, too many. I mean, just stick to the neutral, minimal decoration styles. Contemporary is very popular in Ghana here. Every Ghanaian actually is contemporaryist, minimalist. Yes, not all of us do, but so stick to those ones, right? Very minimal the furniture, very minimal colors. These are all neutrals: white, gray, and black. Most of the time,
black.
White, grey, and black. Usually,
just friends. Curtain is red and black.
Hey.
I know Rudy will not be happy to hear me say this, but check out this.
And what is the flooring? What's the color of the floor? I want to know.
Salon wants to know. The color of the flooring for the black and red.
I don't remember. It was tiles.
Okay.
It was some
white.
Yeah, whitish creamish.
Are you sure?
Tiles.
Are you sure?
You see, the office, I go there often. So don't worry, I'll take your picture and come in. The next time we'll put it on the wall so you both see what I was referring to. Messages are coming in quite thick and fast. So if you were to advise landlords, on how to deal with some of these things, from the experiences you've garnered within the space, what would you say they should be more, tolerable of? And what would just your general advice be to landlords?
To landlords, I mean, please, this.
Not relax it, like chill. They should calm down.
Of course, I mean, we are in the era of Gen Zs. Do you get it? These people.
I was buying bricks and mortar and cement and concrete.
Where were they?
This generation, you need a lot of patience to live with them. They should be tolerant, like you were saying. I mean, there are so many things you can do. There's so many things that can be changed easily, right? Again, I think most landlords, you see, when they are designing, that's what makes. In construction, if you realize, you go to most of the developments in town, right? Apartments, all these high expensive buildings. A lot of the time, the developers stick to neutral colors because they want to do something that at least almost everybody would like. So most of the time, they don't want to, unless they try to, have exceptions with different design styles, but you realize the whole house, the whole room, all the rooms are painted white. The tiles are mostly either white or something neutral because they are trying to sell. I don't want a situation where everybody will come, I don't like black, I don't like red. You get it? So I need to do something that at least majority of my buyers will like. Do you get it?
Let me throw it off balance a little, not entirely off balance, still connected to what we are discussing. You get people, or some landlords also say, if you are moving in, you can't move in with your pets, right? I don't know if you've heard that, people share that experience a lot. Are there ways you can modify it so much that if, for example, it's a compound house and you need to move in with your pet's dog or your pet's cat, it won't be a nuisance to other people within the space? Are there new modern designed spaces for pets you can use to manage that?
There are. But the problem is if it's a compound house, which means you are not the only person, you are not the only tenant, there are other people. So, which means that you have to be very, very responsible so that your pet doesn't become a nuisance to the other person. But if you are there alone, how do you call it? A self-compound that you alone live there. There are so many innovations now these days. There are pet houses, there are pet rooms, there are pet ways you can even, a lot of the time, most people don't even allow their pets to come out. Do you get it? But some people might still not be, comfortable with the fact that there's a dog in this room, in this apartment. So for that, in a way, so far as it's a compound house, it's going to be very difficult to, although there are ways you can easily, unless you can maybe promise the landlord that, no, don't worry, I have a dog, but I'll never let the dog come out of my room. if only you can stick to that.
You know, I can understand a landlord or landlady who is hesitant in giving out a room or a house when you want to bring in pets, right, and other animals. But you know, my shock when I once saw a post, you know, borderline tribalism, right? You know, borderline tribalism, and for me, it was repugnant. It was. I don't even have the words to describe. It was shameful. You know, where people are not willing to give out rooms to certain people. You know, and for me, I find it like, wow, do you like how would you even
build
put
in the first place?
Yeah, you have money, you can do.
Some landlord even says, you know, this particular house is not even a compound house. This particular house, if you are not married, I won't give it to you. Yes, they don't want any single lady or something.
There are others who, if you're single, they won't give it to you. Yeah. Because they'll say you'll
be bringing boyfriends to the house.
And girlfriends into the house.
Charlie, you have to start naming and shaming landlords.
Some won't rent to women.
Some of them
won't rent to men.
I had an experience like that. So there was this agent. He was the one who told me, oh, the man says he doesn't want any single lady in the house. You have to be married. So later, after I met the man, he later told me, you know what? He said I can come. So I asked him what happened. Apparently he had gone, when I moved in, the landlord's wife came to the house to meet me. Apparently he had gone to tell the man I'm about to marry. That was why they agreed to give the house to me. So she wants to meet my husband who I'm about to marry.
Imagine.
You was overprojected, but you are let us like, you know, I can understand if you don't want to give your house to a single boy. You know, you can be.
Why?
You know,
Okay.
but in all of it, all of those things, you know, I struggle to see the sense in it. But for me, I think the line that we cross is when you say that because person A is coming from A and B and C, you can't give out your space. For me, I think it's shameful, you know, and if there's any rent control doesn't work.
Please.
No, you should know, right?
We don't want to go there. The rent control is there.
It's a different conversation.
Thank you.
But for me, I don't think in 2024 and in 5 we should be having to deal with some of these things, right?
Yeah.
I can understand if you have issues with me drilling holes, laying carpets, changing the paint, but you can't tell me that you won't rent to me because I'm coming from, you know, a particular part of the country. Anyway, we'll let it slide. Before you go, some messages have come on tips to decorating kitchens and bathrooms. Very briefly, then you go.
Decorating kitchens and bathrooms. I mean, these two I always mention to my students. These two are the most delicate part of the house, right? Why? Because of the connection, the layout. I mean, the kind of work that go on behind the scenes before you see the kitchen. You get it. The least thing you spoil something, right? So these two places require a lot of care. The bathroom and kitchen, especially when it comes to the layout, planning the layout. Where should this go? Where should that go? Right? A bathroom, for instance, you enter a bathroom and the WC is right by the door. You open the door and you can't even sit on the WC. The sink is either blocking the door or something. The shower is in the corner and the towel rack is somewhere by the door. Which means when you finish showering, you have to walk across all the way. I mean, it's same thing happens in the kitchen too. The layout, planning the layout is to me the first thing, the number one priority. How to arrange the things such that, because remember, put in place, remember what activities are going to go on in the bathroom. Do you get it? So mostly the basic for the bathroom is remember what is the most used fixture in the bathroom. Right, in the bathroom mostly has either the WC, the sink, and then the shower area, right? Sometimes the bathtub. Which one is the most used in the bathroom? That's, you have to be going up and down. Mostly is the WC, right? So that is one thing you don't want to put all the way to the back, right? It should be around the door, not too far from the entrance, right? Just that it also doesn't have to be too visible when you're standing by the door. Do you get it? Because of privacy issues. Even if it's the couple sharing it, most of the time they don't want to see each other. So mostly just put that in mind, right? You get it. And then also you look at, the next thing is mostly the sink, which also doesn't have to be too far from the door. These two, if you're able to plan them well, the shower area is usually very bulky and the least used in the bathroom. So you don't want to bring it too close to the door. If not, it's going to take too much of the space around, and it's going to actually, how do you call it? Yes, spoil movements. If you put, most people don't realize that until they finish and they are bringing in the shower enclave, the glass cabinet, would you get it, before they realize it has taken too much space. That's why it's advised you don't put the shower by the entrance. That one should even go to the father, because it is the least used in the bathroom. Do you get it? Now the most should be these two items. How you arrange it is the next thing. Where you place them is the next. As for the sink, it's not so anything that requires so much privacy as compared to the WC, right?
I can imagine.
Same thing in the kitchen. Kitchen too, you want to know. For that, you want to also know how many people use the kitchen at a go. Is it a family house? Is it a family kitchen, or you're alone, right? And what are mostly the activities? You want to know the flow of activities in the kitchen, so you can easily arrange.
It's interesting all the things you're saying. Very nice, very very thoughtful, very demure.
Very mindful.
Very mindful. Except that you live in like some apartment I saw somewhere in Tokyo and in New York, because the kitchen and the toilets, it is like
New York apartments are something different.
I just pray that I hope that we don't get to that point in Ghana.
No.
I think we're almost getting there.
Really?
The toilet and the kitchen is like
they're opposites.
Yeah, it's
a lot of the time. I think it's because they don't see most of the. I won't even use the developers. Most of the residential properties we have, right? The landlords do not use professionals. Do you get it? Someone calls himself a contractor. I can build a house for you. Those are the people who can easily use their mouths to draw a plan.
I'm even talking like in advanced countries, like in Japan,
in Ghana,
like in
it's
New
happening.
York. The spaces are very small.
Very small.
So you have to manage.
Here too,
right? So there's no flexibility for style.
Yes. But even with that, even with the size of the space, you see, with careful planning, you can actually do something better.
You can maximize it.
Yes, you can do something better, right? It all boils down to planning. Most of the landlords I have seen and experienced do not plan. I have people calling me after they've been able to put up the structure, right? Which means they have a floor plan. They've been able to put up the structure, roof it before they call me to come and draw a floor plan for them. You get it? So how did you come by?
Yeah.
How did you come by the whole thing you are doing?
They are sorry.
What were you doing?
They are sorry.
We are sorry. We won't do that again. So let me ask you this last question before we go. Dennis is asking what general items you recommend Dennis invests in to improve his home decor without damaging anything.
I think we've mentioned quite a number of years. Like I was saying, if the wallpaper, removing the wallpaper is difficult for you, just paint the room white or a neutral color. You get it? One thing I remember, the reason I like white paint is it makes the room very lively.
Right.
It makes the room look actually expand. You get it? So if it's a small space, white makes it expand.
Okay.
Right. So you don't want to go and paint blue, dark blue, black. Those are things. White is something almost everybody likes, unless probably they say they have kids and they don't like the white color.
But even now, there are paints that you can,
wash.
off, yeah.
Yes, washable paint. Just ask for silk, right? Just ask them for the silky paint. Those ones you can easily wash off the dirt. Yeah. Same as even the wallpaper. It can easily get dirty, but there are some that are washable, water resistant. So just inquire. I think I should put it that way. Ask around. There are so many options. Yeah, there's so many things you can do to actually have your rented space look like you prefer.
All right. Thank you so much, Salom, the Dream Maker. And that's today's tip. Quite simple. And then you can, decorate as and when, and try not to drill holes into the wall. There's so many options available on the market now. But white for your walls. It makes everything simple thereafter. Coming up next is a performance by Casual. We'll be right back after this. Don't go away.
This is what I deliver. Sometimes late at night, I lay awake and watch her sleeping. She lies in peaceful dreams, so I turn out the light later in the dark. And the thought crosses my mind, if I never wake up in the morning, will she hear about the way I think of her in my heart? If tomorrow never comes, will she know how much I love her? Did I try every way to show her every day that she's my only one? And if my time on earth were through, she must feel this one without me. Is the love I gave her in the past gonna be enough to last if tomorrow never comes? Is the love I gave her in the past gonna be enough to last if tomorrow never comes? Okay, let's move on to the next song. I know you know this song. Okay. When I wake up, you're the first thing on my mind. I sense need by one of a kind. I know I said they break your heart before, so it is fear to fall in love. But I go fight to the day I go call you mine. Oh, Audrey, make me, baby. It's sweet, yeah, it's your lady. Make me, lady. Oh, my baby, you're a queen. And compliment me as a king. Catch up on this mama called do, baby, bra, befim I know. What do you wait, bra, befim I know. Oh, bra, befim I know. Oh, bra, befim I know. Oh, me say bra, befim I know. Oh, day, bra, befim I know. Oh, the bra, befim I know. Bra, befim I know. Oh, day, oh, the bra, befim I know. See, I say. Oche ben woma come move for you. Make a send me to a baby is deep, very deep. See, Usiria munami humi happiness. Hey, my body when you be a metro move. Ah, the other okasa, memra I will fly. Who bought me rejector? Seriously, I won't die. Oh, my baby, you're a queen. And compliment me as a king. Get your ball, it's a mama go draw, baby, bra, befim I know. Oh, do you wait, bra, befim I know. Now me say bra, befim I know. Bra, befim I know. Mr. Bra, Fimano, Ode, Bra, Fimano, Bra, Fimano, Ode, Bra, Fimano. Okay, let's do this. Senia si wudom Shino wanti makoma Mere makoma duwa chewa Ube tumi ashano ma Adia mimpenyo dotu suo Beye would say Would you wait any pana on me? Now, do me a full fire no more. Would you be beye would saba for no day at that was she shed me? Or does that me but you? Miss your pharmacy, very slow, I may watch you me at the oh, do you Mary Tiffany? Can you see me? Quani doctor me fata me petty me and you be me and you pity me one rock and for me go my into me standing heartbreaks and lies whatever me go Makuma kitwen and for me go so something na ye ko tie omuchi chama ye chia falso
It's time to reset yourself and everything else around you for success in the new year. Tune in to the Effective Living Series 2025 this January on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. Start your year with insightful discussions and expert tips on personal growth, health, success, and more. From the 6th of January, join Apioko and Caleb Kuda engage our guests with various expertise on the Effective Living Series for a comprehensive guide to resetting your life in 2025.
This is the Effective Living Series 2025
on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. My name is Caleb Kudas.
My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe. Apioko will suffice.
Week 1 kicks off with Personal Reset. Week 2 focuses on resetting your personal economy. Week 3 is all about resetting your health. Week 4, resetting business, calibrate, remodel, and rebuild. Catch the Effective Living Series live on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM and Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV, Monday through Thursday. Don't miss out on transforming your life for the better every week only on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. The Effective Living Series 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Hallmark Cafe. Hallmark Cafe, delight in every sip and bite.
Hello, are you ready for a show that the whole family can enjoy? Join us on our fun educational adventures as we discover interesting places, meet amazing people like a pilot, a soap maker, a chocolate maker, and more. That's not all. You will learn about our culture, explore musical instruments, symbols, and cloth, learn all about kente, gather around and listen to our folk tales and discover the interesting history behind our stories.
Wow, this show is really informative.
Yeah! We'll also have fun experiments. Whoa! And lots of art activities.
Look at my spider.
So beautiful.
You definitely don't want to miss the Wonder Space Show with Miss Natalie.
Wonder Space!
Watch the Wonder Space Show on Saturdays at 12 noon only on Channel 1 TV.
Maybe you don't know, say I love you. Although him say baby, if I say that I want you, although him say oh yes, I will be your baby and you be my superwoman. Would you be my lady? Oh yes. From my end for Dumbo, can we share this taste of love? Oh, let's sing Makuma Peduho, Makuma Peduho. Oh, don't miss it, Makuma Peduho. Oh, don't miss it, Makuma Peduho, Makuma Peduho. Odo me se makuma petu ho. See, me say, keke. Odo unti na me tu adetem. A day with you for like all the time. Can you be the woman of my dream? Yeah, let it. I wanna keep you or I go take grace. You be my ting-a-ling-a, langa-langa, danga-danga-da. Would you be my lady? Oh yes, I will be your baby and you be my superwoman. Would you be my lady? Oh yes. From my end for the bomb, can we share this faith called love? Odo me see makuma peduho, makuma peduho. Odo me see makuma peduho. Odo me see makuma peduho, makuma peduho. Odo me see makuma peduho. This is the part where it gets crazy. Odo when you want me to me dada, when you want me to me dada. Odo when you want me to me dada, me to me dada, me to me dada. Odo when you want me to me dada, me when you want me to me dada. Although when you want me to me, oh, me see, although when you want me to me down, oh, man, when you want me to me down, me to me down, me to me down, although when you want me to me down, me to me down, man, when you want me to me down, me to me down, although me say, makuma peduho. Makuma peduho, odo me se makuma peduho. Odo me se makuma peduho, makuma peduho. Odo me se makuma peduho. Oh yeah, keke. Odo unti na me tu adedim. A day with you for like all the time. Can you be the woman of my dream? Yeah, let it. I wanna keep you or I go take grace. You be my ting-a-ling-a, langa-langa, danga-danga-da. Would you be my lady? Oh yes, I will be your baby and you be my superwoman. Oh, Missy, would you be my baby? Oh yes, From I am for the mom, can we share these things called love? Odo me say makuma petuho, makuma petuho. Odo me say makuma petuho, Odi makuma petuho, makuma petuho. Odo me say makuma petuho, Odo me say makuma petuho, makuma petuho. Odo me say makuma petuho. Odo when you want me to me dada, when you want me to me dada. Odo when you want me to me dada, to me dada, to me
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily Weekend right here on Channel 1 TV. Casual, treating us to some soothing sounds. But for now, we shift focus to sports to find out what the latest is in the world of sports. And to help us do that, oh, Charlie, no, clean it again. Oh, my brother. Oh, Charlie. Elmint.
Oh, Mr. Duncan.
Elmint.
Mr. Duncan.
One row minty.
Oh, Mr. Duncan.
Charlie, the cousin of
Professor Minta. the former Black Star psychologist. And you are the nephew of the great Tim Duncan.
Oh my goodness.
NBA Hall of Famer Tim Duncan.
Are we going to do this anytime, Yao?
Widely considered the greatest power forward in history.
Say it again.
The nephew of the great Tim Duncan. Jude Duncan.
That is it. The Black Stars also.
Top guy.
Where should we start from? There's so many to talk about.
Oh, so many things to talk about. Before we get into the FA Cup, because FA Cup games are coming up this weekend, and the league games will come later next week, because there are a lot of midweek games coming up. Yeah, but in the lead up to the FA Cup games this weekend, Black Queens, Nora Hutler,
Get ready for a day of gratitude and nostalgia at the Swisscom Annual All-Year Group's Thanksgiving and Remembrance Service. Join us on Sunday, January 19th, 2025 at the ICGC Christ Temple at Bosilokai in Accra at 2 p.m. The service will also mark the launch of the 66th anniversary celebrations of Swisscom. Wear your Swisscom cloth and be part of this special gathering. Contact your year group president for further details. Let's make this a day to remember. See you there.
Hello, are you ready for a show that the whole family can enjoy? Join us on our fun educational adventures as we discover interesting places, meet amazing people like a pilot, a soap maker, a chocolate maker, and more. That's not all. You will learn about our culture, explore musical instruments, symbols, and cloth, learn all about Kente, gather around and listen to our folk tales and discover the interesting history behind our stories.
Wow, this show is really informative.
Yeah! We'll also have fun experiments. Whoa! And lots of art activities.
Look at my spider.
So beautiful. You definitely don't want to miss the Wonder Space Show with Miss Natalie.
Wonder Space!
Watch the Wonder Space Show on Saturdays at 12 noon only on Channel 1 TV.
A new year, a new government, a new president. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of The Situation Room, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. On Situation Room, you know, we talk politics. And as you are aware, on Tuesday, President John Dramani Mahama was officially inaugurated as the next president of the Republic. He's made some appointments just today, but previously he's made some appointments, and today he brought out 3-member list of persons who will serve in various ministries as the administration of John Dramani Mahama gets started. On Situation Room this afternoon, we'll talk about who these individuals are and what they bring on the table as far as the administration of John Mahama is concerned. My name is Sami Wiafe. When we come back from the break, I'll tell you who I'm doing the show with.
Your health is in your hands, but at some point, it passes on to us. At Mintuba Hospital and Coloproctology Center, we believe that quality healthcare isn't a privilege, it's a right. Equipped with cutting-edge technology, we are fully prepared to effectively deal with all colorectal and proctological conditions.
Our team of highly skilled doctors, surgeons, and nurses are renowned for their expertise in minimally invasive and painless laser, ligature, and longoproctological surgery.
We are committed to providing a wide range of services to meet the diverse needs of our patients. Mintuba Hospital, your health is our priority. Visit Mintuba Hospital today or call us at 0244 581 541 or 0271 054 204. Mintuba Hospital, in to serve a peculiar health need.
Get ready for a day of gratitude and nostalgia at the Swesco Annual All-Year Group's Thanksgiving and Remembrance Service. Join us on Sunday, January 19th, 2025 at the ICGC Christ Temple at Bosilokai in Accra at 2 p.m. The service will also mark the launch of the 66th anniversary celebrations of Swesco. Wear your Swesco cloth and be part of this special gathering. Contact your year group president for further details. Let's make this a day to remember. See you there.
You're welcome back. You're watching The Situation Room, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. As I mentioned earlier, there's a new year, a new government, a new president, and a new administration. John Dramani Mahama on Tuesday was officially sworn in as the next president of the Republic, taking over from Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who served a 2-term or 8-year period in office. In the 2024 election, his main challenger, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, lost to him, John Dramani Mahama, coming back to the seat of the presidency. This afternoon on Situation Room, we talk about the man, John Dramani Mahama, the appointments he's made. If you remember, this is the 3rd appointment he's made since he was elected. There was an earlier appointment where there was an interim security chiefs who were appointed. Just after that, there was another appointment for him, appointing some people within his inner circle. And just this afternoon, today, on Thursday, Mr. Mahama has made some 3 ministerial, very important appointments to his government who will serve in his administration. My name, as always, is Sami Wiafe, and I'm here with my friend, colleague, and brother, Fred Tete Jabano. Fredo, what's up?
Sami.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. May this year be a good year for for us, or especially you and I.
Exactly. We are praying for a very, very good year.
Definitely.
A very prosperous year.
Yes. Prosperity, that's very important. We need it. We need it. Fred, much awaited, much anticipated. On Tuesday, John Dramani Mahama was officially sworn in or inaugurated as the next president of the Republic. The comeback kid, as I will call him.
Yeah. Because
he's made another attempt to the presidency and he got it. Before that, he made some appointment, which a lot of people are talking about, and the recent one, which is today. But before we discuss today's appointment, he had made earlier appointments, appointing Prosper Bani, Lieutenant Bevulati, among others, to chair an interim security task force. Who are these individuals he appointed?
Yes, as you said, he's made, this will be the third set of appointments he's made since he was voted for as president. Whilst he was president-elect, he made the announcement of about 5 or 6 persons who were supposed to play the role as security advisors. Then he followed up with the appointment of the close cabinet, the people he'll be working with from his office. Then today he made the appointment of his ministers. So the first batch of his ministers were announced. As you said, John Mahama was sworn into office on Tuesday. Today is his second day in office. He looks like, as you said earlier, he's a man in a hurry. He has promised that he's going to make all his cabinet appointments within 14 days. We are in the second day of his presidency. So, he's keeping to his words. Whether he would he'll be able to fulfill the promise of appointing all his ministers within 14 days, we are yet to see. But as we speak,
educational adventures as we discover interesting places, meet amazing people like a pilot, a soap maker, a chocolate maker, and more. That's not all. You will learn about our culture, explore musical instruments, symbols, and cloth, learn all about Kente, gather around and listen to our folk tales and discover the interesting history behind our stories.
Wow, this show is really informative.
Yeah! We'll also have fun experiments. Whoa! And lots of art activities.
Look at my spider.
So beautiful. You definitely don't want to miss the Wonder Space Show with Miss Natalie.
Wonder Space.
Watch the Wonder Space Show on Saturdays at 12 noon only on Channel 1 TV.
Get ready for a day of gratitude and nostalgia at the Swesco Annual All-Year Group's Thanksgiving and Remembrance Service. Join us on Sunday, January 19th, 2025 at the ICGC Christ Temple at Bosilokai in Accra at 2 p.m. The service will also mark the launch of the 66th anniversary celebrations of Swesco. Wear your Swesco cloth and be part of this special gathering. Contact your year group president for further details. Let's make this a day to remember. See you there. It's time to reset yourself and everything else around you for success in the new year. Tune in to the Effective Living Series 2025 this January on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. Start your year with insightful discussions and expert tips on personal growth, health, success, and more. From the 6th of January, join Apioko and Caleb Kuda engage our guests with various expertise on the Effective Living Series for a comprehensive guide to resetting your life in 2025.
This is the Effective Living Series 2025
on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. My name is Caleb Kudas.
My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe. Apioko will suffice.
Week 1 kicks off with Personal Reset. Week 2 focuses on resetting your personal economy. Week 3 is all about resetting your health. Week 4, resetting business, calibrate, remodel, and rebuild. Catch the Effective Living series live on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM and Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV, Monday through Thursday. Don't miss out on transforming your life for the better every week only on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. The Effective Living Series 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Hallmark Cafe. Hallmark Cafe, delight in every sip and bite.
Life is a celebration of moments.
Big
and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink adds a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to The Big Issue. The Big Issue is your Saturday morning news and current affairs program, a platform for insightful analysis and riveting conversation. I am Selon Adunu. This week has been particularly packed There was inauguration, there's been appointments of some ministers, there's been news of a looming power crisis, etc. We'll put all of that together for you today and give you a good analysis of all of these. So to start with, we'll look at the issue of the looming power crisis. The government took over on the 7th of January 2025. Just around that time, we understood that there was going to be a looming power crisis, what we call DUMSO, because Ghana has no fuel to power its thermal plants, because the West African Gas Pipeline Company, which operates the West African Gas Pipeline, through which we get gas from Nigeria, was going to undertake a routine maintenance. The maintenance was supposed to have been undertaken in October, but for some reason it was rescheduled to January. Now, the government says that the outgone government left it next to nothing in terms of fuel to power the plants. So there's been a lot of discussion around that, and we understand that the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company is considering giving or rescheduling it 2 weeks forward so that we can have some breathing space. Before that, we need some $90 million, about 1.2 million Ghana cedis, to purchase fuel for the power plants. That is so much for the new government. Now, in response, the president quickly made some appointments into the Finance, Energy, and Attorney General's offices, to forcing John Jinapor and Dominic Ayini, respectively, have been appointed to those positions. John Jinapor, Energy Minister Designate, was also chair of that 12-member technical committee set up by the president upon knowing about the looming crisis. And he appears to have started work. He also says, or President Mahama has also said, that the issue about the privatization of the ECG is on the cards. That is a crucial thing, he says, they have to do, because the losses, commercial, technical losses, the ECG incurs is unsustainable. All of that topping 40%. They say that is unsustainable. We want to understand the power crisis. We thought we were fine. We thought DUMSO was not going to come anywhere close to us anymore. We will seek this morning to understand the problem, what is being done about it, and what the West African Gas Pipeline Company is saying about their maintenance schedule. Also, we'll look at the president's inauguration, we'll look at Parliament, and we'll look at the appointments made and what else is to happen, what these appointments bring to the table. In the last lap of the program, the president has called in the IGP officially to furnish him with investigating reports on the deaths that occurred in the 2020 elections and the 2024 elections. It's been a campaign promise. One of the things he said he was going to do in his first 120 days, and it does appear that he's hit the ground running. He caused his secretary to write to the IGP. We do not know what the IGP has to say in terms of response, but we believe that in the next coming days we will hear that. As you may recall, some 8 persons died in Techiman South in the heat of that election. Also, about 2 or so persons died in the just ended elections, and the president says that he needs to have these deaths investigated. Indeed, at the Thanksgiving service of the Islamic Faith Thanksgiving, the president reiterated that point and said that it was important that we got to the bottom of that. We will also look at that as the program grows. Once again, this is The Big Issue. I am Selom Adunun. The show, as always, is live and interactive. You can join us via our WhatsApp line 020-444-7033 or 0549-986-996. And we'll be happy to read out your comments to the rest of the world. I'll take a short break. I'll return, provide some updates, introduce my guests, and then we'll get a discussion underway. Once again, you're welcome. Yeah, welcome back. This is a big issue, 97.3 City FM, of course, on Channel 1 television and on our socials. I am Selom Adunu. 3 key issues we are looking at this morning: the looming power crisis, the president's inauguration, and the appointments that have come subsequently, and then also the issue about the investigations into the deaths in the 2020-2024 election, letter written by the Secretary of the President to the IGP to initiate, and furnish him with details of those. We'll look at all of that this morning. But in the meantime, just to provide you some updates, in the early days of his second term, President John Mahama is facing a familiar challenge: the threat of intermittent power outages, otherwise known as DUMSO. These energy struggles once strained President Mahama's popularity and played a role in his electoral defeat in the past. But this time, the government is acting quickly with a key breakthrough as the West African Gas Pipeline Company agrees to postpone its planned maintenance by 2 weeks, a move that could help Ghana avoid a looming power crisis in the interim. Akosua Autry, our reporter, has more in the following.
Combination of the scheduled WAPCO maintenance and the fuel deficit would have severely affected the country's electricity generation capacity. Following a crucial meeting, the technical committee formed by the Office of the President and WAPCO agreed to delay the maintenance for 14 days.
Our operational teams have been working diligently with our vendors. Right now we are still working to get commitment, but there is a possibility of a slight deferral. It won't be the full month. But we're looking at up to potentially 2 weeks deferral in the start of the operation.
Okay, so are you trying to say that we can defer it from January 20th to say February?
I believe it would be 3rd February.
3rd February.
We need a firm.
It's okay.
We're continuing to work with our vendors today to see if we can make those commitments firm. But that is our target right now, is to look for as much possible deferral.
Meanwhile, President John Mahama, in his address at the annual convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission in the Central Region, asserted that the previous government knew there wasn't enough fuel to power thermal plants to generate electricity and promised to work towards keeping the lights on.
Unfortunately, enough provision was not made for this eventuality. When the fuel arrives, it takes time to import it, 3 weeks to place an order and get it delivered. And when it arrives, you have to treat the fuel for another week and a half to make it ready for use in the generating plants. And so there's a threat of power outages. But my brothers and sisters, don't despair. Like I said, you elected us to solve the problems, not to put the blame on anybody else or to shoulder you with those problems. And so yesterday I called a meeting of all the stakeholders in the electricity value chain. And they have been sitting since yesterday to today to come out with innovative solutions so that we're able to keep the lights on. And so I can assure you, with some of the ideas they've come up with, we would make sure that your lights stay on and that we do not have DUMSO, as you popularly call it.
All right, so that was John Dramani Mahama addressing the issues. This morning, my guests are Vincent Akol Asefua, who is a member of parliament for the Otafo constituency. He's returned to parliament, and this time around I'm sure he'll be on some other committees. Vincent, you're welcome. We also have Edward Bauer, who is a former member of parliament for the Bongo constituency. He's an energy person and of course a member of the NDC. And also Dr. Theo Echampon is a political risk analyst and an energy expert. He's also on the program. Gentlemen, once again, you're welcome to the program. All right, so let me start off with you, Vincent. Congratulations once again for returning to Parliament. It's been a difficult election, But I mean, thankfully, you made it through. It's a familiar story. We know about Dumsor. We know that the government had tried to keep the lights on over the 8-year period. People asked at what cost, etc. But now, just after you've left office, we are seeing some unfortunate happenings, in the sense that the current government is saying that you left close to nothing in terms of fuel for the thermal plants to run on. And also, West African Gas Pipeline Company is seeking to shut down the pipeline for maintenance work. This is quite a difficult situation that the new government finds itself in.
Well, let me say a very good morning to you and to your cherished viewers. As soon as you say it's a difficult situation that we find ourselves in, it suggests to me that you have believed that story. But mind you, I think that we were all in this country when John Jinapor, who is now the Minister Designate for Energy, made a comment that the sort of fuel capacity that we have as we speak is going to last for about 5 hours. Now, since that time till now, I think that we've already passed about 48 hours already. And our lights are still on. So that is the first lie. I think that these guys should understand that they are no more in opposition. They have assumed the reins of government with lies and propaganda, and now the reality is facing them, and they seem not to understand that they have to govern. The point is that when it comes to issues of Dumsor, even before 2016, when the NPP was campaigning to come to government, we made the point that the energy sector at all times will have to be managed. It will have to be managed because at one time you may have a problem here and you have to use other means to be able to deal with the situation. So there are times that you have issues with thermal generation capacity. If that happens, you may have to, as it were, resort to hydro. The combination of these two, hydro and thermal, is well over 90% in terms of our capacity as to how we used to manage the sector. And so you can do the propaganda, you can do the politics, but now the NDC is in power. They have to make sure that they sustain the energy sector. The NPP government have been able to sustain the energy sector for the past 8 years. We've had some few challenges, but trust me, I remember the days of 2013, 2016. Those days, your lights could go off for about 3 days, and you have lights just for about 12 hours. I remember those days very well. And if this is how my brother from the other side is going to manage the sector with this kind of propaganda, then I'm afraid we are heading for doom. Because as I said, it's a sector that you have to manage. It's a sector that will need deep thinkers around the table at every point in time. It's a sector that you cannot lead with propaganda. It's a sector that you cannot lead with lies. It's a sector that is very crucial as far as the economy of this country is concerned. It's a sector that, one way or the other, seem to be the fulcrum or the pivot as far as our industry and manufacturing hub is also concerned. You cannot lead this sector with propaganda. You cannot lead this sector with lies. As we speak, our lights are on. The capacities that we have, or if you like, the capacities that we've left for them is adequate. It may not be enough, but it's adequate for you to be able to.
How much exactly you left for them?
Well, I may have to check, but as I said, they are complaining about fuel. They are complaining about fuel. That is what they are complaining now. You know, over the years, we've not been having problems with capacity in terms of how many megawatts do we have as a nation. We don't have problem with that. We've always had problems with financial issues. And as I said, the NPP government have been able to manage the sector for the past 8 years, and we've managed it sustainably. We've been able to find money to be able to manage the sector. I think that our brother from the other side should do same and manage the sector, and cannot do so with lies and cannot do so with propaganda. I am hoping that in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, as John Mahama is trying to suggest to us that when you import the fuel to the country, it will have to take you about 3 weeks and another 3 weeks to refine and all that. Are you trying to suggest to us that within the next 6 weeks we cannot have light? Is that what you are trying to suggest to us? So that cannot be the case.
I think the maintenance period was to start from 20th or thereabout, and they are negotiating to get it moved 2 weeks further, if what we hear is correct. So maybe he's trying to, of course, part of leadership is managing expectations. So I'm sure that's what he's trying to do.
Salom, you see, it's sad when we sometimes do this cherry picking kind of politics. Yes, indeed, there's supposed to be a maintenance, but the sector has a number of maintenances that will have to be done. And so when the Ministry of Energy was engaging WAPCO that postpone the maintenance, it did not mean that was the only maintenance that was happening. There were other maintenances that was also happening around the same time.
But this was major in respect of the gas pipeline that supplied the Western Enclave.
The idea was that
the Eastern Enclave, the Tema side.
If you do that, and that was the thinking of the Ministry of Energy, if you do that schedule, if you do that maintenance around that time, the energy sector was going to be hit because there were a number, or if like there were other schedule of maintenances that was happening. So that because as I said, you have to manage the sector. There are a number of things that comes together for you to be able to manage the energy sector. So if you are going to embark on a maintenance at one place, and the Ministry of Energy suggests to you that there are other maintenances that is also going on, so separate it so that at every point in time the sector can be managed, people can have our lights on. That does not mean that it is one way or the other an intentional way of checking that responsibility or that maintenance that is supposed to be done maybe to a later period unnecessarily. It was for a purpose, and that purpose was that let's do it somewhere around January 20th and do this other maintenance.
The suggestion is that it was pushed away because of elections, because shutting it down was going to,
what's the basis for that?
Hardship. That's what they have said.
What's the basis for that?
Untold hardship.
What's the basis for
and
that?
And that, you will need a lot of money, which Ghana didn't have at the time, to purchase fuel to get a system running. When you push it to January, the election should have been over. If you won,
what's the basis for that?
If you won, fine. If you didn't win, that's okay. So the next government deals with it.
What's the basis for that?
Well, that's what they have suggested.
But that's what I'm suggesting to you, that you cannot lead the sector with such lies and propaganda. I am suggesting to you that the idea of the Ministry of Energy at the time was that there were other maintenances that were also going on. And with the sector, if one plant or if one sector is one way or the other being maintained, is going through maintenance procedures, it means that one area has been affected, which is going to have a toll on our generation capacity. So if you do the maintenances on all these areas, it means that you are going to have a problem. It is the intention of the Ministry of Energy that do this maintenance, or it has been scheduled in such a way that all of them will not be done at the same time. Some will have to be done at some point in time, so that the others that are not going through the maintenance can hold the economy. And so that was the intention of the Ministry of Energy. It is never true that we scheduled, or if you like, we rescheduled the maintenance for purposes of election. No, that cannot be the case. Anybody who is bringing about that idea is lying to the Ghanaian public, and that cannot be entertained.
Very well. Let me speak to Dr. Theo Champon. Theo Champon is an energy analyst. You can safely call him an energy expert. He is a political risk analyst as well. He's joined us on Zoom to help us appreciate the matters better. Hello, good morning, sir. Welcome to the big issue. There's a looming power crisis, at least we were made to understand. What's your understanding of the situation as we have now? Oh, I understand we just lost Dr. Theo Champon. So we'll continue with our in-house discussion. So what really, it's your understanding of what's happening in the sector now. Your team is saying this, the other side too is of a different view. Is it a case that when you take out what the West African Gas Pipeline brings, obviously the shortfall is going to be so huge that huge parts of the country, Greater Accra especially, will be off? Or you think there are things that the ministry could do in the space of the maintenance period so that we still have our lights on somewhat?
Well, first and foremost, let me indicate that there's nothing like Greater Accra when it comes to demand. There's a national demand. I've heard Felix Ofosu-Kwakye talking about the fact that Greater Accra is going to be affected and those kind of no. We have a national demand. Now, when there is an elimination of one area, let's say the WAPCO maintenance, if WAPCO maintenance is supposed to be happening and there's an elimination of that sector or that area from our general capacity in terms of generating electricity, yes, it's going to have a certain toll. But as I said, I use the word management. The energy sector for the past few years, or if like for the past years, 20 years, 25, 30 years, it has always been about management. You don't have a free room to operate as far as the energy sector is concerned. If you don't manage the sector well, you have a problem. And so if that schedule, if that maintenance is supposed to be happening, I think that as the Ministry of Energy has been doing over the period, because I don't think that is the first time such maintenance is going to be done. I remember when Matthew Poku Prempeh was the energy minister, at the point when there were a number of maintenances that was going on, he dubbed it as Doom CAC. So you needed to put the lights on at certain places so that the maintenance could go on. It's the same thing that was going to happen, or if you like, it's the same thing that is supposed to be happening with WAPCO. If the maintenance is going on, obviously, the sector or that area is going to be affected. But it needs great thinkers. It needs people who understands the sector, people who will not do propaganda with the sector. And the reality will come to all of us, especially John Jinapor, very soon, because as I said, when you are in opposition, you just look at the negatives, or if you like the challenges that comes with some of these things, and you just be hammering on it. But now, if you are supposed to this oral thing that came, just to deviate a bit, this oral thing that came, there are a number of them who are members of the oral committee who were saying a whole lot of things about this seeming corruption in this country. Now they've been given the opportunity to, as it were, support elimination of corruption in this country. And how many weeks now? About 2-3 weeks, nothing proper is really coming from them.
Their job is not to do anything. Their job is just to collate information. As far as
but yesterday I saw some of them at cantonment.
The Northern Development Authority.
I saw them there.
Yeah, but they can't prosecute. You have no mandate to do so.
What
their job is to collect information.
What is the legal basis of what they were doing?
So they are collecting information.
Information from where? From walls and houses over there?
When the Attorney General is sworn in, then their job comes.
I am just trying to bring out the principle that you cannot lead a country with propaganda. You cannot lead a country with lies. And when the opportunity comes, you'll be faced with the reality. So, yes, the sector will have to be managed. If the sector is not managed and managed effectively with enough resources, it is going to be very difficult for us to be able to have our lights on. Having our lights on is not a joke. The NPP has done so well for the past 8 years. And trust me, the NDC is now going to see the kind of work that the NPP did. And because if you're not able to manage it well, I mean, it will show. You have our lights being off here and there, as it happened in 2013, 2016. All that the Ghanaian, or if you like, the Ghanaian public wants or needs from any government is that let us have our lights on. Businesses like tailors, businesses like seamstresses, mechanics who uses electricity sometimes. I mean, all kinds of businesses, barbers. All that they want is to have their lights on.
So SMEs.
That is all that they want. They don't want any explanation as to what the NPP was supposed to buy fuel, whether it was supposed to buy fuel or not.
But Vincent, is it not instructive that just a day after leaving office, we are being stared in the face with this problem?
Which problem?
I mean, the problem they are making us believe.
But you have the lights on.
No, but of course we have the lights on. But you don't have to wait till it goes off before you complain. So, for example, if they say the lights were going to go off, the maintenance work is going to go off, you're going to start somewhere on 20th, and they've made us believe or understand that the finance minister, outgoing finance minister, was to purchase some fuel which will last for the entire period of the maintenance. They say as they speak about nothing of that nature was done. So if they are met with that situation, it raises a lot of issues because the new government must even settle. The government hasn't settled. They are barely 3 days old. The government hasn't settled, and they are met with this huge thing of now going to procure fuel and all of that, which should have been done by perhaps the past government. It's a real issue.
But you see, that is their account. I would have wished that my brother Minanta would have probably even made a comment about this. But
that was clear at the transition. At the transition committee.
Were you there?
No, I mean we've heard so. But if the information put out was wrong,
forget about the NDC.
I expect your side to come out with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That would have wished.
But
wrong. Of course, have you seen Herbert Krapper's message? Statement.
Yes, I think I've seen.
Yes, Herbert Krapper sought to dispute all these lies from John Jinapor and any other person who believes that what John Jinapor and the NDC side of the transition team is saying is true. Herbert Krapper made a point that we are not faced with any problem as they are trying to make us believe. He stated this, the former energy minister stated it point blank, that we are not faced with any problem of a sort that John Jinapor, Felix Ofosuku Ache and Bauer, my brother Bauer is trying to make us believe. No. He actually made a point that it is a sector that will need a certain amount of tact, will need a certain amount of strategy to be able to maintain it. I mean, if you don't have that strategy and tact, in the words of Herbert Krapper, he said that he seems that they are trying to espouse their incompetence once again, because it is the same incompetence that we saw in 2013, 2016 that made us go through that difficulty that we find ourselves. But as we speak, from 2017 till date, there has not been any problem. Only for the NDC, just a day after inauguration or just a day after coming to government, they are trying to let us know that we have problems. Let us forget about all those things. What we as Ghanaians, you as a Ghanaian, the barber in a shop, what he is interested in is for us to have our lights on. And that is what the New Patriotic Party and this government has been doing for the past 7-8 years. We expect the NDC to stop complaining. John Mahama himself said it. You have been elected to come and solve these problems. And such problems will have to be solved with tact, strategy, and competence, and not propaganda. If you start with the propaganda, you are bound to fail. And that is what I am sensing from the side of the NDC. And I think that where we find ourselves, it is going to be very embarrassing, it's going to be very sad and bad for this country to go back to the days of 2013 and 2016, where we will have our lights on for about 12 hours and we will have our lights go off for about 24 hours.
I see. Dr. Theo Champon is online, but before I speak to him, let me play what the president said at his final State of the Nation address on the energy sector. He said that they inherited a nation plagued by doomsor, but he was happy to be leaving a nation which had its lights on. And he said a few other things as well. Let's hear him.
Ghana has made significant progress in expanding electricity access, with the electricity access rate increased to 88.85%, up from the 79.3% I inherited. In renewable energy, completed projects such as the 4 megawatt floating solar PV at Bui and a 15 megawatt solar PV at Kaleo, together with a 100 megawatt solar PV under construction at Bui and a mini-grid electrification program in Ada East, have advanced efforts to reach the 10% renewable energy target by 2030. Mr. Speaker, it is worth emphasizing that I inherited a nation plagued by doomsor, but I'm very happy to say that I leave office with the lights on. This achievement did not come without its challenges. When my administration assumed office, we inherited an energy sector legacy debt of $2.5 billion United States dollars. The Energy Sector Recovery Program, developed by government and the World Bank, projected that this debt would balloon to a staggering $12.5 billion United States dollars within 5 years if no decisive actions were taken. We knew that such a scenario would cripple the sector, undermine investor confidence, and plunge the nation back into darkness. Mr. Speaker, we got to work immediately. Through tough negotiations with independent power producers, prudent financial management, and targeted interventions, we've been able to stabilize the sector while keeping the lights on. I'm pleased to report that we've kept the energy sector legacy debt to $2.5 billion, the same level we inherited, and have averted the $12.5 billion debt scenario, despite the rising costs of energy production and the global economic challenges that have unfolded during my tenure. The energy sector has been truly transformed, and I'm leaving office confident that the foundations we have laid will serve this nation well for generations to come.
All right, so that was the president speaking in this last State of the Nation address. Dr. Theo Champon is on. Theo Champon is an energy analyst, is a political risk analyst as well. Hello, Doc. Good morning. Welcome to The Big Issue. From where you sit, what's your reading of the situation we have at hand in terms of the energy sector, power, and what is become known as the looming power crisis?
Yeah, good morning, and I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right, brilliant. Yeah, and again, it's good to be here in regards to Vincent in the studio and our other colleagues. I mean, look, the sector is in a big mess, and it has been for a while now. We've been papering more or less over the cracks, and if you give me some time, I would, explain the issue. So yes, it is true that in the last years we've increased access rates, and if you look at the numbers, I think Ghana, with the exception of South Africa, would be the highest on the African continent when it comes to getting access to electricity for our people. It is also true that we have had more generating capacity that has been added, and you can go all the way back to 2015 for those new capacities that were added, and then the more recent ones that have been commissioned, like the SemPower in Tema and others. But the question really is at what cost? And the president did indicate in the tape that you just played that at the time the energy sector debt was about $2.5 billion, and I remember very well some reports that the World Bank did, and you can even go further back to 2013, a piece of work that they did raising a number of challenges in the sector, and it was nothing or very little to do with generation in terms of increasing capacity, but the inefficiencies within the sector, and that is what led to, for example, things like ESLA, right, being announced and being implemented. And if you actually look at how the Energy Sector Levies Act and the recoveries have been made in the last few years, particularly, we've made a complete shambles of it. So in 2019, the World Bank forced us to put in place ESLA together with other development partners. And the monies that were meant to actually go into it. So when you pay your light bill and other utilities bill, some of those monies are actually meant to go into the ESLA fund and the cash waterfall mechanism to repay these energy companies and fuel suppliers. But it was not being followed and had not been followed. So in fact, if you look at the IMF program that we are under now, the document that we signed with them in May of 2023, there's a strong component of that program that has to do with reforming the energy sector. And one of the things that is in there is bringing or reinstating the same ESLA that back in 2019 we were supposed to have consistently implemented in a bid to resolve the issues in the sector. So the debt in the sector now still stands around $2.4 or $2.3 billion, almost at the same level that we were at a few years ago. And these are still being accrued, and fundamentally it comes down also to the major losses that are taking place within ECG, where for every $1 or 1 cedi of power that they buy, they are only they're losing 30 or 32 or so % of that through commercial and technical losses. And this is the biggest number that we actually have seen going back the last 10 years. The statistics are there. In 10 years or 10 years ago, we're doing probably around 22%, and consistently year on year, despite all the reforms that we claim to have been doing in the sector, ECG keeps hemorrhaging a lot of money, and not until that is fundamentally addressed will keep having these issues within the sector. So look, the sector is in a very difficult and, to be very honest, very messy situation, and it requires all hands on deck to resolve this. I don't think that the outgone government would not have been aware of this. I would be surprised if they weren't aware of this. And I'm sure the new government that has come in, things also have taken them a bit by surprise. Specifically, again, this is in relation to the whole Dumsor debacle that we've heard in the last couple of days, has to do in relation with the fact that if you look at how our electricity is generated in Ghana, there are two regional clusters. So those in the west, so the Tema enclave, where the pipeline from Nigeria supplies gas to the likes of the Asogli power plant. And then you also have assets in the east, so the Takoradi Aboase enclave, where again you're using your domestic gas. The issue is that one of the power plants in the western enclave has to do a scheduled maintenance. And then what basically that means is that when they are maintaining or refurbishing their facilities, they would have to go offline. So that generating capacity or the gas that you need to provide that would not be available. And you need to make alternative procurement for liquid fuel, LCO, or even heavy fuel to be able to power those plants. And what I am picking up, and this is what has been the debate between the NDC and the MPP, is really whether or not enough was done in terms of procuring this buffer fuel stock to allow that capacity to be brought on stream. But I think, look, the issues even go beyond that. Like I've said, the sector is in a big mess and would have to fundamentally reorganize and restructure the sector if we are to make it sustainable.
I see. That's quite interesting. So, given the difficulties we've had, I mean, with all of this in the past, and we're continuing to have, the talk has been. You've also alluded to the inefficiencies of the ECG, etc. The president has said that privatizing ECG is on the cards. Is that the way to go from your viewpoint? Others, like Dr. Steve Mantior and co, have said that they cringe when they hear about privatizing privatizing the ECG. What is the best way or the better way for it? Cleaning it up and making Ghanaians manage it themselves, or bringing in the private sector to take care of the management of it? Where do you think the solution lies? Of course, it could be an ideological matter, but I mean, pragmatically, where do you stand on this?
And it's good you raised that. So of course, the ideology issues and the practicalities of the day. And I understand those concerns that people have raised, that if you look at the history of privatizations in the country broadly, it's underperformed on a number of these state-owned enterprises. And the concern also has been that often it's used as a backdoor to reward certain sort of cronies and other private interests that may be connected to the regime. This ECG privatization thing is not new. So remember that when the outgone government came into power, it was actually one of the things on the agenda. We had the PDS arrangement, and this was going to be supported by the MCC, the Millennium Challenge Corporation of the United States. And the process again became shambolic, right? There were issues about vested interest. There were issues about the lack of transparency in the process, and the issues about accountability. So the challenge again for me is not necessarily one of privatization, but it comes down to the process that you use to actually carry out or execute that privatization. I think we all agree, or most Ghanaians would agree, that there are major issues at ECG, and ECG is the Achilles heel that is holding Ghana's electricity sector back, and something has got to be done. Privatizing it is one of the options. Other options, for example, some have talked about potentially floating it even on the stock market, right? But then to be able to do that, you need to have its books and its balances and its finances in a relatively better shape than it is at the moment. Again, other proposals have come that, for example, can we take all the toxic or the bad assets of ECG and ring fence it, and more or less the government takes that over, and we start anew in terms of the company's financials, and then that can be managed under some sort of management contract arrangement, or even bring in the private sector entirely to manage the process. All of it would have its pros and cons, but from again where I sit, I think some form of privatization would have to be done fundamentally. With the way the ECG has been run, and to an extent things have been mismanaged over the last couple of years, leaves a lot to be desired. Other than that, what happened is that we, the citizens, would end up still paying, right, for the cost of this mismanagement through the bills that is brought to us. But that is really one of the big things that this new administration would have to tackle, at least within the next 6 months to 1 year. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a process, and I think the Millennium Challenge Corporation and other donor partners have indicated that they are willing to support the process. However it is, I am not for 100% privatization. I think you could do maybe a 60-40 or 70-30 that still allows the state through an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, to still own some sort of share within the new revised structure. But the status quo cannot continue, clearly. Otherwise, we would end up pretty much in the same situation that we are now, with a lot of debt, a lot of inefficiencies, and citizens complaining.
All right, I see. So that inefficiency, we understand the losses are now topping 40%, etc. A lot of this is due to the fact that many people do not want to pay for power. Others connect illegally. ECG says its cables are obsolete, so there are losses or technical losses in the process, etc. Do you sense a real commitment? I mean, in both, of course, this government has just come, but in this one, the previous one, and others, real commitment to deal with this issue of losses. Government institutions have line items in their budgets that relate to ECG or payment of power for power, but they hardly pay. And when you look at the data, the government sector or agencies owe ECG a lot. The question is, where is that commitment? They want to ensure the system is efficient, but the government agencies don't pay. And because they are government agencies, it makes it difficult for ECG to go around disconnecting them. How do we resolve that?
Oh, but you remember that a few months ago, even during the outgone administration, ECG started a process.
But they stopped. They were made to, or they stopped along the line. Yes.
I think they are still doing bits of it. So I remember very well the one where they went to Parliament and almost turned off the power right in Parliament until Parliament had to make some payment to it. I have not checked the numbers in terms of how much the collective government entities owe vis-a-vis that of, call it, households or the private sector in general. I would think that a lot of those monies or those losses would sit largely within households and also within the private sector in terms of like people, companies. We've heard stories of even hotels, you know, swanky hotels doing illegal connections to the bridge. That is a part of the problem and a part of the solution, as in whoever takes over the running and the management would have to be really much more aggressive in going after people that, you know, owe ECG. And again, as we both have seen the data, the losses year on year have actually increased and close to almost the 40 or so percent. But again, I think that is one side of the story. The other side of the story is within ECG itself, and a number of issues that have been raised, for example, about the company's procurement practices. In fact, I can reference you to that 2013 World Bank report, and the title of the report is Energizing Growth in Ghana, the Role of the Power Sector, or something like that. And in that report from, we're in 25 now, from 12 years ago, a number of issues were raised about the procurement practices at ECG. And it's like you could almost replay, right, those same set of issues 13 years down the line, and you still find them being highlighted or be raised. So it's not just a story about just cutting back or reducing the technical and commercial losses. The organization itself has also got to be efficient. They cannot just be spending money, right, anyhow, or even collect monies that are meant to go into the cash waterfall mechanism, and they decide to use it to do, you know, other things without servicing the ESLA debts that are there. Those are some of the other issues that will have to be addressed going forward.
Very well. Just hang in there for us. Thanks so much, Doc. Edward Bauer is here, and he appears to be, or he is in the sector and he understands the issues. But before that, I mean, it will come in the next discussion. But the government has issued an executive instrument called the Civil Service Ministries Instrument 2025, where it has rationalized the ministries. Now we have 23 ministries. Some ministries have been scrapped, others have been merged with other things, new ones have been created. But we will delve into that in the next subject. That's just to put this across, that the number of ministries have been streamlined to 23. And I'm sure that's in line with the president's pledge to just work with 60 ministers. We'll deal with that in the next segment of the program. Edward, good morning. Welcome to the program. Happy New Year to you.
Many happy returns, my brother.
Yes. I mean, your government said they were going to solve the problems, and we saw your inauguration on the 7th, and just hours after the inauguration, we were told that there was a looming power crisis. Governments are elected to solve problems. Why did you start your reign by complaining?
So thank you very much. And then first, I was supposed to be here at 9 o'clock. My apologies. I was caught up in yet another station. Yeah, so to the issue. It is true that governments are elected to solve problems, and my attitude generally is that as much as possible, let's not get distracted by what somebody didn't do right, and rather concentrate on what we can do better. And so I agree with you in that particular argument, but facts must be stated as they are. So, in fact, during the transition period, remember that all the transitional documents that are always handed over to the Administrator General, who supervises the transition process. The cutoff point is always September. Good. So usually the information that he or she who gives out to the various parties is always at September. So anything beyond September becomes an add-on to it. And maybe sometime in the course of the transition itself, those issues will come up. So in the course of that, we discovered, and luckily enough, I served on the subcommittee on energy and natural resources for the transition. So in the course of that, we discovered that there was a correspondence between WAPCO and the Ministry of Energy, and that's, for that matter, the government of Ghana. And the correspondence was that, and this was in October, that look, that they wanted to have what they call a mandatory maintenance. And basically, one was to replace their subsea valves, two was general inspection of the pipeline, and properly they use the word picking. Picking simply means cleaning the pipeline. These are issues, and that's why they use the word mandatory, because you see, there are routine maintenance that you do want to forestall in case there's a challenge, and two, for insurance purposes, because in all your, even the premiums you pay for all your insurances and other things, one of the things that you will have to do is that if it is time for you to and something happens, are you a lawyer? So you know what I'm talking about. So basically, it was for these purposes. So when they told government of Ghana, now you need to know that we have a large portion of our generation capacity coming from thermal. So we use hydrocarbons, we use gas for that. So the fact that they were going to, and Ghana relies on the West African gas pipeline for two things. We rely on it for the gas that comes from Nigeria, because we still import about 70 million scarf of gas from Nigeria. So it relies on that in bringing the gas to Ghana. And two, when we also produce our indigenous gas in the West, they also do the same pipeline through a reverse flow, pipe the gas to Tema. So to make the pipeline unavailable for maintenance means that all the plants within that Tema enclave would be without gas, because that's the only pipeline we use. So you have your KTPP, that's the Pontema power plant, that's Sogle power plant, Sen Power, Bridge Power, Aska, all those ones were going to be knocked off because they are all based in the Tema enclave. So when they wrote to government, and usually because government is a major stakeholder for them, it was only proper that they did that. Government wrote back to WAPCO, telling WAPCO that, look, we've heard you that you are going to do this mandatory thing, but because you are going to knock off our primary source of fuel, give us till January to procure enough liquid fuel as an alternative to the gas that you'll be knocking off. So they gave them up to January. The January will do that. So understanding would have been that today we wouldn't have been having this conversation. That would have procured the necessary fuel, liquid fuel, whether it was diesel, whether it was light crude oil, to be able to do that. And luckily enough, most of our plants can switch to these different type of fuels. So in the course of the transition, we realized we came across this letter, and we asked the government that, look, we have this information, which obviously wouldn't have been captured in the transition document.
Because it ended in September.
Yeah, September. So we had this document that we've seen. How far have you gone with it? They said they had not done anything, but the Minister for Finance had promised that, oh look, I was going to release money and ensure that we procure the necessary fuels. January 7th, we come into power, and then we realized that the fuels had not been procured. In fact, no requisition had been made to purchase that. It was for that reason that on the 8th of January, His Excellency directed the Chief of Staff to constitute the 12-member, technical committee to ensure that we avert the challenge. Now, so when we looked, this was a presentation that was made to us by Gridco. I've already indicated that the whole of Tema will be knocked off because of the issue of the fuel. So we had three scenarios. How are we going to deal with this issue? Scenario one was to do nothing about it. So which was not an option. Yeah, which would mean that we overdraft our hydro sources, the Pong and then Bui and then Akosombo, to overdraft. Even with that, we'll still have a deficit up to about 1,100 megawatts. Just to give you a sense of what 1,100 megawatts is, it will mean that all the 5 regions in the north, I'm just giving you, if you look at the 5 regions in the north, you look at part of Ashanti, part of, so the old Brown Hafo, so part of old Brown Hafo, Oti.
So half of the, or more, a little
all those ones.
Yeah.
They are not up to 500 megawatts.
Oh, they are not up to 500.
So to give you a sense of the 1,100 megawatts,
but it also makes sense that the activities.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I'm just trying to tell. I'm just trying to give you a sense of what the megawatts are. This was huge. So if that was the first scenario, the second scenario is that we have the money to buy it, buy the liquid fuel. So we looked at it that if we could, assuming that we were able to buy it, we will not have any deficit. But it will cost us. So WAPCO says we need 28 days from 20th January to 16th February. So we need 28 days thereabout to be able to sort out this problem. We said that assuming that they stay to schedule, it means that the fuels we're going to buy, taking consideration of every other factor, was going to be roughly around $106 million. You understand? Now, usually it's like routine maintenance is like going to for a routine health check. You may leave your house not knowing that you just think that it's a routine thing. In 6 months you want to go and have a check, and you get and they say you have a problem, and so you now have to treat it. So the third scenario was then to look at that, assuming they do this thing and then there's a problem. So we did another projection that maybe they may need 1 month to fix that problem. So we did that scenario, and we said that we felt that we will need about $238 million to get that sorted out. So with this presentation, His Excellency said, look, money cannot be the reason. Wherever we get the money, we have to get the money to do that. But now we're fighting against something we didn't have control over. That's time. Why? As at 8th that we're having the discussion, assuming that we're going to even use the 8th as the beginning, the start point to deal with, because we're just coming to government after that. What it then meant was that usually to import just from Nigeria, which is our nearest neighbors, you need between 15 and 20 days minimum to get the product into the country here. Now, if it gets bad, you may need between 30 to 35 days. You understand my point? 2, even with that, assuming that with that particular 8 days, there are people who are already in the queue to offtake the product. So if you have to jump the queue to get it because you have an emergency, then you have to jump the queue. You pay a premium for that. So you have to pay a premium to be able to do that. 3, even after the product has come into the country, so you take a plant like SemPower, after the product has come into the country, they need to treat it for at least 2 weeks.
To treat it?
Treat the light crude before they can use it.
And that cannot be fast-tracked?
No, it can't. The type of specs they have. They need a minimum of 2 weeks. In fact, I think you would have seen, if you would have seen some of the videos in the meeting, they brought the SemPower MD to say, how many days do you think you need to do? He said 2 weeks to treat that. So even if you were to take,
John said 3 weeks, minimum 3 weeks. I don't know how.
No, I'm saying no.
You said minimum, but John said I just listened to the video. He just played it. Yeah. John said minimum of 3 weeks.
No, for treatment.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's 2 weeks. Okay. Maybe it was a slip or something. But I'm just trying to say.
But I have a question when you're done.
Oh no, I'm just trying to make it. So you need a minimum of 2 weeks to be able to treat it. So even if you take that and you add it to the period for getting the product into the country, that you are almost entering into about, God knows, the earliest you can have the product ready to be used would be in February. You understand? Meanwhile, the maintenance schedule starts on January 20th. So that was the challenge that we had. Now, His Excellency, I'm just giving you just the bare facts. Then maybe we can then talk about the implications of those. His Excellency has said that we must find a way of ensuring that we don't have the load shedding. The alternative that we may have to do is that whilst we wait for the light crude oil, we may want to, because some of the plants, like if we take the thermal power plant, can also use diesel, is to use DFO. If you are using the DFO, yes, it's more expensive anyway. It's more expensive. But remember that the Lakans that, what do you call it, what's his name, the shuttle, that, when I use Lakan, that's what I mean. The shuttle and all other things that MPA gives for products coming in. They also have to balance that with domestic use, other non-power usage of diesel. So remember that if they are allowing diesel to come into the country for generation of power, it means that you may have challenge with diesel coming in for the truck that will bring food stuff from the north to the market space. So there must be a balance of that also in terms of how we deal with those things. So we're working with MPA to get those things sorted out so that we don't distort the already market that we have for other non-power usage, but at the same time find a way of doing it. It is all about money, but sometimes you need to look at it from an angle that if you were to say you're not going to do anything, the cost of it in terms of production, people who use power for all their various activities, that would be a bit more. So that's why His Excellency said that was a no-no. We needed to ensure that we avert this. But you see, when I was coming, I was listening to Vincent, my friend, and he made a point that CRAPA had indicated that, they had made some arrangements, and whatever we're saying was not, was just a way of, it's a clear indication of inefficiency or maybe incompetence in trying to handle the sector. I've consistently, and I think about 2 days ago, I spoke to your station on the morning show, the breakfast show, and I said that I am one person, I want to desist from dealing with people, what people just go and put on social media. You understand? There's a formal report produced by, what do you call it, GRIPCO, about the situation. That report is available in the public, that we can see, because, and this was a report that the outgone government had. So is that report even we're just looking at? So when he makes those statements, I just think that it was just a way of...
Those who did not hear the statement, let me just read portions of it. Titled, "Keep the Lights On As We Did, You Are in Government." I read a statement from Honorable John Jinapor MP, co-chairman of the Transition Team Subcommittee on Energy and Natural Resources, in which he claims that, quote, "massive load shedding looms as Ghana's fuel stock depletes," unquote, and seeks to blame His Excellency Akufo-Addo and his government for it. Mr. Jinapor is wrong. Load shedding does not, quote, loom. It is caused either by technical or emergency power generation issues or a lack of competence in managing the power sector. Mr. Jinapor seems to be haunted clearly by the latter. By the time of leaving office, President Akufo-Addo's government left in stock light crude oil, which Send Power currently generates power with, while AXA continues to take delivery of heavy fuel oil, which it generates power with. This fact is easily verifiable with a phone call to both power plants. The responsibility of the new administration is to not only procure more liquid fuel to keep the lights on whenever liquid fuel becomes required to complement gas supply, but also plan competently to avert power supply disruptions. We did it, and they can do it too if they can. The NDC government should go to work as we did. The reason we kept the lights on for 8 years, regardless of the difficult times, and stop the needless finger pointing. This is not the way we kept the lights on. So what's the problem with this? As we speak, Send Power is currently generating power with the light crude they have. AXA continues, he says, to take delivery of heavy fuel, which they are generating power with. So what's the
now let me tell you. So one of the things that he has not told you in this. So Send Power usually will run on gas during the day, and during peak hours, 6 hours, they will run on crude. You understand? They are able to switch so easily. So granted that Send Power was going to do, assume that there was gas that was coming every day, and therefore they ran gas during the day, and then light crude oil for the 6 hours during peak. They would have been doing 23 days for 2 units, 2 units of level. You know, usually the plant is made up of units, so they've done 23 because at the time that they were living there, I'm talking about as of 8th, I'm just giving as of 8th January. So that's they would have been running that. But remember, I have just told you that we're knocking off gas by virtue of the fact that you don't have the pipeline available. So it means that if Send Power has to run,
It will not be running the 6 hours during peak. It will run the whole 24 hours on that.
Okay.
So it tells you that the 23 days will not be what they will do. I don't know whether you're getting the point I'm making. Now, you will see that KTPP, that's a thermal power plant, that runs on diesel. The diesel that they had could just take us for 1.5 days.
1.5 days from when? From
the 8th.
So it means that, so because Vincent made that point,
yes,
that if he said 5 hours one day, we've long gone past those times. So 1.5 days we are gone past that. So how are they generating? They are working.
So this is the interesting part. So as we speak today, so when the pipe, you see, when you have, this is just the quantity of gas that diesel, that the amount, what it can do, how long it can work. So this is what it is. It is not that they were using that, but KTPP still relies, as today, as we speak, is using the gas.
Oh, it's using the gas.
It's because the gas, they have not shut it. Because they are going to start it on January 20th.
Okay.
I don't know
so
why
it means that the cutoff point will be January
20th.
Okay.
So as we speak today, they still use the gas. So that's why they are generating power for you and I. But assuming that they cut it off on the 20th.
To last just 1.5
So
days.
the stock they have as we speak now, which is just 1,275 cubic meters, will just last for 1 day, 1.5 days, 1.5 days for one unit. It's not for all the units, just for one unit. Assuming that you are just generating only one unit, it will take you 1.5 days. I get the point. So when he talks about the fact that he left stocks in place, you need to ask how much stock did you leave in place. So it is the basis for which, so if you see the figures we have quoted, for example, assuming that WAPCO stays on schedule, that we're going to use about $106 million. What it simply means that we've taken cognizance of these stocks. I know what I'm making sense. That we already have this in country, and therefore, if we're going to procure extra to meet the number of days that there will be the 28 days, this is exactly what is going to happen. So, what Herbert was doing, and Herbert is my very good friend. It's just like the way Vincent is my friend. I'm always very uncomfortable going after them in a very rough manner, and so I think that he was not transparent with the information, just stating that left stock. What is it? So we are acknowledging what the stocks were and how much you left.
But I just wanted to ask a very simple question, and I want to do that hypothetically. Assuming in the event that WAPCO statement scheduled the maintenance maybe May 2025, just an assumption. What that means is that when you start the maintenance, we are going to have a problem with respect to that pipeline, right? So in that circumstances, how were you going to deal with the matter to make sure that you have your lights on? You see, it brings me back to the point that I made, that the energy sector is always managed. So what the NDC and John Jinapor is just trying to do is to call some amount of favor for themselves. So because you see,
so Vincent,
be that as it may,
so Vincent,
even if the schedule was supposed to be May 20th, you were supposed to go and manage the situation and use other means to put your lights on.
So Vincent, so the challenge. So let me tell you where the challenge is. So if you listen to what I said, there were two forms of challenges that we're faced with. One has to do with the resources, and two has to do with time. In our current discourse, His Excellency says that money should not be an issue. Wherever we get the money, we'll have to get it.
Right.
So that has been dealt with.
Right.
But you cannot reinvent or shrink the time. And I just gave you that. It is the period. So when the government asked in October that give us space to buy, to stockpile our liquid fuels, to be able to take care of that, they needed time to be able to procure this, do the treatment, every other things to deal with that. Unfortunately, they reneged on that particular promise that they gave to WAPCO that we're going to get that sorted out. When they were even reminded during the transition period in December, and we told them that, look, please, we've come across this letter. Have you dealt with it? And they said no, but the finance minister was going to release money. It was for that. So if it was not your hypothetical situation, if it was going to be May, what WAPCO would have done is that they would have been telling us ahead of May that, look, I am going to get I'm going to, what do you call it, do some maintenance. My pipeline will not be available at this time.
Especially when other sectors or even other areas are also due for maintenance. That's if you can have that situation.
No, so that's the point I'm making to you.
Because you see, the Ministry of Energy's explanation at the time was that there were other maintenances that was also going on. So let's reschedule this.
No, but you know something? It was not just that. It was also for procurement on this, because this maintenance that you are talking about.
It was for procurement what?
For procurement, to procure the light crude. Even this maintenance that you are talking about. And I was happy when Theo made that point. There are some plants as we speak today that are due for maintenance. They are due for maintenance. But as part of the strategy we are dealing with, we've asked them to reschedule that. You understand? So that we can deal with this. We can deal with this challenge. So we ask that reschedule those your maintenance activities you are going to do. But the point I'm just making, and I need to emphasize, is that for the issue of getting crude into the country, treating it and making it available for generation of power, there's a time period that we have no control over. And if we had started earlier, as promised by the previous government, we will not run into this problem. So back to your main hypothesis that you were making. The argument I'm making is that they would have drawn our attention to it. We would have prepared ahead of time. And so in May, we would have said that no, now we have liquid fuel to be able to do that.
But I'm saying that around the same time, like you just said, around the same time, there were other maintenances that also going on.
But I said those ones have to be rescheduled. And I think the point is making is that there are two things. So the resource of the crude and the time. They have no control over the time. So for example, something must take 15 to 20 days. There's nothing they can do about that. Something will take 2 weeks. And so if you tell me around the 8th or maybe December that this is going to happen,
and I just have 12 days or 11 days
there's
to
no
deal with
time
that.
to deal with that, because those times must these are the required times to do it. That's why I was asking whether they cannot be fast tracked, and he says no. So that's a real challenge. I think I will. The question then will become for us. You've talked about the problem and what you are confronted with. What have you done so far? I mean, I was saying on air that President Tinubu came and delivered a nice speech, said that they will help Ghana once Ghana calls on them. You're speaking generally, but upon hindsight, I think this discussion might have been had with him. Have you made any search calls? What have you done about the situation?
So basically, in fact, so you see this committee that was set up on the 8th of January. We were not given like 4 or 5 days to go and think about it. So we were set up in the morning, and the chief of staff said that by evening we should come with solutions. Whilst we're doing that, there was a diplomatic angle to it, and that was what His Excellency the President was dealing with his colleague in Nigeria to ensure that, for example, the product is made available, and two, we are given an opportunity to skip the queue to get to be able to do it. So that aspect has been done. The same if because again I told that there was no even requisition made through VRE. We made a requisition asking to get the product into this country.
So between 8 and now, the requisition has been made.
Oh yes. Now again, there are already traditional suppliers within the country who supply this crude and oil. We didn't want to risk going to look for a supplier somewhere who has no track record. You get there, finally you are stranded. So we relied on the big boys and the traditional suppliers when they're asking them and commissioning them to get us the product. So all these things have been done. That is why His Excellency continuously talks about the fact that people should not be scared, and that we'll find a way of resolving this issue.
I see. So I mean, somebody just wants me to quickly ask about BOST. You know, maybe this is where BOST may come in because of the mandate of keeping reserves, etc. 6 weeks reserves and all of that. What was the status?
So if you go back and look at the mandate underpinning the existence of BOST, they are supposed to be strategic, stockholders, and the law says that they should at least minimum of 6 weeks of stock, so that assuming that the country does not have any imports for at least the 6 weeks that we should always have petroleum products to use. Unfortunately, BOST does not have that. They don't have any stock. They don't.
I see.
And so, and part of it is just because BOST in itself has lost its way. is now competing with the private sector in terms of.
And they seem to be making a lot of profits, you know, in recent times.
You see, let's talk about this power issue. The fact that somebody comes to tell you that he's making profit is not the case to look at. We will need to go back and then see. And for me, that's a debate for another day. From the goal for oil, the exposure that has been given for by the Bank of Ghana, what are the losses that we are making, other things. We will get there. But the current government is early days yet. We will have to go back and look at. I don't like using the word. Anytime anybody talks about audit, they say forensic audit, presuming that there's a crime. But we'll have audits of all these things, and we'll come with the real figures as they were.
Very well.
And that's how we should be looking at it.
So Vincent, I mean, you raised a number of issues, and are you satisfied with the responses he provided?
Bawa is my friend. As I said, largely, I believe that the sector is a sector that will have to be managed, irrespective of the challenges. The energy sector have had these challenges over the years. It takes some amount of understanding of the sector to be able to manage it. At every point in time, it is largely difficult to have almost every area of the sector in place without any kind of challenges, especially when some maintenances will have to be done. I remember, as I already stated, when Dr. Matopoku Prempeh talked about Doom CACA, it was for purposes of maintaining, or if you like, undergoing a number of maintenances just to make sure that we could have our lights on. At every point in time where there's a maintenance, of course, there's something that you have to take. We will have to take. When that happens, how do we manage the other areas to be able to make sure that we have our lights on? I mean, for me, as a Ghanaian, all that I want and I'm expecting from the NDC is that we have kept the lights on for a period of time. It is clear that what we are seeing now is distinguishable from what we saw from 2013, 2016 in terms of having our lights on it. I mean,
but nothing has happened yet. The lights are still on.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that it is what we saw from 2017 to 2024
okay, so
is distinguishable from what we saw 2013.
They solved the doomsday before the MPP came.
Well, I mean, I don't want to have that argument, but you know that there were times that for about 3 days you were not having lights.
That was the doomsday time.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to make. There were times that we never saw that from 2017 to 2024. I am just saying that, and maybe my brother may have to benefit from this government as far as appointments are concerned, boss or MP. My brother can manage sector areas very well. In the event that he is able to, he is able to have that benefit from John Dramani Mahama. I am hoping that they will be able to manage the sector so that we can have our lights on. That is what the typical Ghanaian who is working in the barbering shop is looking for. The seamstress who is working, that is what he's looking for. The market women who are having, or if you like, engaging in this business of cold store and fish and what have you, that is what they are looking for. And so we will support you. I mean, we are not going to go on a tangent as you guys went with respect to PDS. And when we felt that the sector will have to be privatized, we heard a number of them saying that we cannot do so. At the point, they also shifted the argument and said that, okay, there are a number of, if you like, fraud and inconsistencies or procurement inaccuracies that we saw in that kind of deal. They did not support it the way we thought that they should support the PDS deal. But now that they're also calling for a privatization of the sector, we give them our word. It's something that we believe in, because over the years we believe that it's a sector, especially the energy sector, where we have to make sure that some amount of efficiency, some amount of sustainability in terms of financial mobilization, if you like, revenue mobilization is very key. If ECG shows a certain lack of competence to be able to accrue a number of, if you like, a lot of money from people who use electricity, that is a problem. And these were the underlying factors, or if you like, the underlying challenges that has been in existence all these years, that we felt that it is going to be proper for us to be able to privatize ECG. Now that they've given that call, we will support them. We just hope that they're able to do it and do it well, so that we can have one nation.
We hope that they do it transparently. But I wanted to bring it to you.
Before you come, just two quick ones. So first and foremost, but I think you already even corrected him on that. You see, the issue of Dumzo had been dealt with. The energy sector, you consistently use the word that the lives have been on at what cost? Today, when we're exiting power in 2017, January 7th, the total indebtedness of the energy sector, I'm not talking of just power subsector, just energy sector, was about $2.4 billion. It is for the reason why the ESLA Act was.
And the president says he's left it at that same 2.5 billion.
No. So you see, that's why
it's not true.
Look, let me tell you. See, if you just even look at just the IPP alone, and I use the word IPP, the IPP alone, that's the independent power producers. They were quoting around $1.5 billion, which was a moving scale. And this was somewhere in July of last year. Since then, they've been able to, there have been some additions. You know why I say the addition? You know, they came to an agreement with the government of Ghana that, look, if for nothing at all, every month, ensure that you give us $47 million to be able to share among ourselves. That was never even, and this was supposed to be just a portion of what has been receipted in terms of power given out. So just the power subsector alone, we are almost inching to almost $2 billion.
So where did the president's 2.5 billion figure?
No. So that's
where did it come from?
His Excellency.
Yes,
So those ones are the.
You were in Parliament when he said that. He said the energy sector debt he inherited was 2.5 billion.
Yeah, okay.
And his despite the challenges, he's also managed to leave it at the same.
That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making to you. That you see, so this is just a private sector alone. I know, for example, the number of debts, the amount of debt that is found. For example, with the OCT, the gas suppliers. You recall that recently there was a challenge where the OCTP partners had to draw down on the guarantees. That had been made because we're owing to a level about almost $200-300 million. I get the point I'm trying to make. So if you do those total audits, you see, we can get all that audit after we make this. The private sector is because they can voluntarily talk. So we at least those ones we knew. The other ones, the information you and I did we know that we're going to have a problem with this crude oil issue. It is just when government lost, and then we started discovering that these problems were coming. So that's the one aspect of it.
So are you saying
the other aspect?
Are you saying that? Are you saying that what constituted your 2.4 billion is different from what constituted
the president's?
Yes. You know, see. So, and don't take my words. Take the words of Ejaku at his vetting. He has stated very clearly that the total debt in the energy sector. I'm not saying power subsector. Energy sector is not made up of just electricity. We still have the petroleum and hydrocarbons that you deal with. In the energy sector was 2.4 billion. In fact, that was why we all agreed to introduce the ESLA to retard that.
So the energy sector was 2.4 billion. Okay. So because I thought the president in the clip we played, he said he was leaving it at 2.5 billion.
And now that I'm saying that is a contestable figure because we're just looking
at just IPPC.
IPPC, and we have not even gone to GNPC to see. We've not gone to Ghana Gas to see. We've not gone to BOS to see. I get the point. NPA cannot be accruing debt because that's a regulator. You understand what I'm making? So we've not looked at all those figures yet. But you see, you are living at a time when you have a levy that was supposed to be retiring the debt and actually reducing the debt, and you even went for a 6-year and then a 10-year bond. That's a ESLA bonds to retire this debt, and we still have this situation. So I'm just trying to tell you that he couldn't have been saying the truth. That's it. But when you have in Parliament, when you are speaking, I cannot get up, Mr. President. I can't say that what you are saying is true because he had a very uncontested platform to talk. So that's a different issue there. My other point I just wanted to make, I agree with him on, look, the issue of privatizing, ECG was not basically under them, and that we were making noise about it. You recall that it was part of the Compact 2. Yeah. Compact 2 issues, and then we started the process of privatizing that. And our belief has always been that, one, we need to leverage private sector capital. We need to leverage private sector expertise to be able to manage that part of the value chain. Because, and I agree with Theo when Theo made a point that if you look at the value chain from generation up to the distribution, the weakest link for us is the the distribution end, which is championed by ECG and then NEDCO for the northern part of Ghana. They have not been able to account for the power that they buy and then they sell. I mean, if you have a situation where consistently you are doing in the 30s in terms of your losses, that is really a very huge challenge that we can have. And so we felt that, look, ECG needs pumping in capital, and that's why Mr. President indicated that, look, he is ready to renegotiate with the Americans over the $190 million that we lost and other things. He's ready to do that. But it is important to put ECG.
But I thought Jinapor said the engagement the president had with some of you guys, with the American people, said that 190 will retire to chest, but there was another avenue.
Yes,
that based on our own performance.
Yes. So that's the point. You remember, I was just trying to tell that. Okay, so when I used the 190, you remember that was even when he was a candidate. He consistently said, and I remember in one of those meetings, he said that if he demands that he has to go and kneel there and beg and get the money, he will do it, because he knows that if we resolve the ECG part of it, our partners in the the oil fields and other things will look after, because even when they produce the gas, it ends up with the electricity that is generated. So if they cannot collect the money at the ECG end, they cannot pay themselves, they cannot pay the generating companies and other things. And so we have always agreed on that. The only thing we differ from with you guys was the manner in which it was done, the process in which it was done. You and I know that we were shocked to have heard audios and other things talking about how monies were going to be shared, shares were going to be, these audios that went around. And we knew that. We knew how PDS and other things were formed in barbering shops. We knew these things.
Let me bring it to you. Let me bring it to you. Bauer wanted to take the discussion somewhere else, but so we've had Bauer and explanations he has given. Are you satisfied with the explanations he's given and the way forward he said government is taking, Nigeria, all of that? Yes. Are you okay with it? Are you satisfied with the explanation he's given and the way forward he says the government was chatting?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a reasonable explanation he's provided. Again, they sit now in government and they would have better information than those of us who are outside. But if I were in the same position as they are, you immediately would activate, certain calls. And in this case, Nigeria has some of the resources that we need in terms of the light crude oil to power our plant. Some of our other neighboring countries, Equatorial Guinea, and other partners out at large. So I think really the issue or the important thing now is, when do we expect the deliveries to come in? And then number two, when does the scheduled maintenance take place? And then going forward, number three, how do we align? Because in the sector, as Edward and Vincent may be aware, or rather are aware, every year they would come up with a maintenance plan and then a schedule of activities that the different plants, would be doing. And this all fits into the energy or the broader electricity supply plan that GRIDCO produces, which is shared with Energy Commission and other players in the sector. So I think going forward, the other thing now becomes, what other scheduled maintenance activities do we have for the rest of the year, and what are the contingency plans that we make vis-a-vis those scheduled, activities. But the explanations that Edward has provided so far, they are perfectly reasonable explanations. What Ghanaians want at the end of the day, like Vincent said, is that we want the power to be on. We want to go about doing our activities. The barber, the hairdresser, the tailor, they want to be able to use that power, and of course also pay for it, which is where the issue of the ECG privatization becomes really important. But that's a more medium to long-term intervention going forward. I think there's one other thing that probably we also have to drop on the table, which is what do we do to add more capacity to the mix? So if you do the demand supply analysis and the balancing, by 2026-27, most of this capacity that currently within the system, right, would be utilized, and we would have to add on top of that in addition to the reserve margin that is needed. So again, long term, what are we going to do in terms of bringing more capacity? And I say this especially in relation to the renewable energy or the green energy component. I just noted that in the executive instrument that is being just released, setting up the ministries, about 23 of them, the energy ministry has been rechristened Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. And I think that's an important signal in terms of what we have to do to add more capacity. So here, can we use things like auctions to bring more renewable energy capacity onto the grid to balance the load? And then also the other point really being, how do you actually drive down the cost, right, of power? Because we're still quite expensive in Ghana compared to some of our other regional peers. And this is where, again, I think a little bit more renewable energy on the grid, some of the efficiency savings that we've talked about, all would allow to bring down the cost of power. But these are, medium to long-term interventions or solutions that are required. In the immediacy, the key thing is how do we avert, right, the situation of that you don't have crude oil to power the plant because no contingency was made. And I think some explanations have been made. So let's look up to that, and then definitely we'll be holding the government to account in terms of the promises that they have made to deliver within the energy sector.
I see. Thanks so much. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll move the discussion forward. Look at the appointments. 3 key appointments have been made, and obviously these appointments were to deal with the situation at hand: Finance, Energy, Office of Attorney General or Attorney General Minister for Justice. We'll do that, and coupled with that, we've seen an executive instrument which has streamlined the existing ministry from 30 to 23. And indeed, Dr. Theo Champo mentioned that we now have a Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. So that's a new one, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. We'll look at all of them and see what it actually brings to the table. After that, we'll deal with the issue of the investigations into the violent incidents of 2020 and 2024 that the President has asked the IGP to immediately investigate. This is the big issue. I'll return, read some of your messages, and then we'll get into the next matter. Don't go away.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
More. From the 6th of January, join Apioko and Caleb Kuda engage our guests with various expertise on the Effective Living series for a comprehensive guide to resetting your life in 2025.
This is the Effective Living Series 2025
on Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM. My name is Caleb Kuda.
My name is Apioko Sarah Mashong Abe. Apioko will suffice.
Week 1 kicks off with Personal Reset. Week 2 focuses on resetting your personal economy. Week 3 is